Hello, hello, howdy, howdy. This is your boy, technically Clay. I am here for yet another live stream. He can't stop me apparently. I just keep on going. um, yeah, so let's see. Last night was more Stargate for me. This is the personal news section. Me and my wife, we watched a little bit of that. Um, Man, did I really do anything else? I played some more World of Warcraft. I think I've done all the weekly stuff that I need to do so far for this week. So I'll probably do some more dungeons at some point just to learn them a little better, so that I'm not, you know, fucking everything up for my guild whenever we start doing them together. Um, let's see. Other than that, today, like usual, was my half day. That's why I'm on a little bit earlier, hoping if anybody's out there can make the stream on these earlier times. I know it's a little different than normal, but uh, I got to do this when I can. So, um, so yeah. Let's see. Today I did get a workout in. That's good. I did back. Didn't feel too great. I think probably my sleep still isn't that good, emotionally exhausted. But yet here I am. Here I am for you, the viewer. Um, anyway, let's see here. So today we got some more Iran news. We got some more, uh, you know, the Middle East. It just it's on fire. Everything sucks. Our our big beautiful president might have made a little oopsie daisy. um, so yeah, we're gonna start like we usually do with some YouTube videos, more news centered. We're gonna start with Iran. This first one is the breaking news of the day. Another four U.S. service members were killed in a refueling plane crash in Iraq. One thing that I think goes a little underappreciated sometimes is the amount of logistics and technical support needed to do all of these bombing campaigns and bombing missions. Lots of these things, especially with B2s, which I heard the other day, they said we're using, they need to be refueled at least once, to get over the airspace of Iran. And all of that comes with risks and technical logistical support, friendly fire potentials. I don't know if they're going to claim friendly fire on this one as well. This is kind of the first news video that I'm going to watch about it. I read an article this morning when I woke up, but there wasn't a lot of details in it. So yeah, let's see what's going on, why these four people definitely needed to die, definitely 100% for the cause of something. We're trying to do something over there. They had to die for something. So let's see what the big beautiful channel BBC has to say about it.
Just to bring you some breaking news that we brought you earlier, just to give you more details, US CENTCOM has confirmed that 4 of the 6 crew members on board an aircraft that crashed in Iran.
I think it might have been upped, actually. It might be all 6 at this point. This is from 6 hours ago, so it might be a little bit behind.
Iraq have died. Rescue efforts are continuing there over this refueling jet. It came down at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on March the 12th. It's a US KC-135 refueling aircraft that went down in western Iraq. As I mentioned there, the US CENTCOM is saying that 4 people were confirmed dead. They are continuing to investigate the incident, but they have said that the loss of aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire.
Wait,
should
what?
give you more details.
Not due to either one.
Due to hostile fire. Continuing to investigate the incident, but they have said that the loss of aircraft was not due to hostile fire or friendly fire.
What? What was it? Like a strong gust of wind? Man, the Imperial power always I was assuming they would just say it was friendly fire again. That's what they said with the last one. They never, under any circumstance, want to admit that Iran took one out or something. It was over Iraq, so I don't know if Iran took it out. But I don't even know what they're trying to claim when they say it wasn't friendly fire or enemy fire. I guess God took it out for some reason.
More details on that as we get them. Now, as we approach 2 weeks since the US and Israel first struck Iran, killing the country's supreme leader and sparking a conflict spanning across the Middle East, there seems to be no let-up. So where are we in this conflict, and are the aims of the US any clearer? Let's talk now to our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucet. Good to always see you, Lise. You've covered wars and conflicts.
We'll see what she has to say, but to me, I still have no idea what the goals are.
For many years. You've seen civilian suffering firsthand. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual cost of human life here and what this war is doing to the children of this region?
I think, Nomia, there's been a growing concern that even the language about this war has been very dehumanizing. The way that
You
the
don't
U.S.
say.
Defense Secretary, or as he calls himself, the Secretary of War, Peter Hegseth, talks about death and destruction every day. They talk about when they go after an Iranian tanker, they could have bombed it, but they sunk it because it's more fun.
Yeah, I mean, but have you considered that that not killing civilians and children and elderly people, that's woke. Sorry. I'm sorry to tell you, but you must not understand. Like that's woke shit. We don't do that anymore.
To sink a tanker, and you get this sense of that it's almost a war game, and even in war, words matter. And of course, our colleagues, Tom Bateman and the State Department and other journalists, continue to press American officials, including President Trump, to give clearer answers about what happened on the very first day of the war, the same morning that the salvos were targeting the compound of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and other security chiefs. They also, according to BBC Verify, a U.S. Tomahawk missile hit a military base in southern Iran, which was very close.
This is just the Israelification of the American military. Israel like is much further along the fascist pipeline in terms of like how dehumanizing they have to be, how brutal they have to be. America is getting there, but they're not quite there yet. Or like the Israel's dehumanization campaigns have like started to spread into America, but we still like try to pretend like we're like a little bit better, a little bit more moral than they are, and don't usually openly say that we're like targeting schools and stuff or whatever. Um, so this is actually one of the first huge, like purely civilian, like quote unquote accidents that America has ever engaged in. Like or like in modern, probably like more like modern warfare or whatever. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We're just slowly getting the demor the as America's power like wanes and there's less and less uh like it's going to start lashing out more and more, and it's going to come with a corresponding degradation of the moral character of the nation, right? I think Chris Hedges has talked about this a lot. There's a degradation in just morality in general as a nation, as an empire starts to wane, and we're just kind of starting to get there. It's probably going to get a lot worse. If you've seen how Israel behaves and acts, I would guess that America is going to start doing a lot more of that shit in the future.
To a school, and Iran says that in that school and in the surrounding area, 168 people were killed and more than 110 children. And the United States just continues to say that they're investigating. And every day someone else is commenting that this should be taken seriously, that even in
Yeah,
war
it should.
there are rules,
Yeah,
and there
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 used to
are
be.
reports too that
They're more like guidelines. That's how America thinks about them.
all of the other countries in the region, most importantly in Lebanon, which is described as the Southern Front, children's charities are expressing concern about the impact on children there, as children are on the run again, hundreds of thousands displaced, not going to school. Infrastructure is being targeted too in Iran, which means that the lives of everyone is affected, including the most innocent of all, and that is the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I joke about the big beautiful channel up here because sometimes they have some ghouls and sometimes they have really terrible framing on stuff. This is actually a very rare occurrence where they're really doing a decent job of humanizing and like giving the Iranian and Lebanese perspective. I mean, obviously they're not as good as they could be still, but they're doing a lot better this time than some of the other videos I've watched.
Least you were in Iran recently, and there is a distinction that Iranians do make, isn't there, between Persian people and the Islamic public. I, I wonder about your assessment in terms of the impact this war is having.
They're not the only ones who make that distinction, by the way. I know a lot of people out in like West Hollywood or whatever, like expats who do not under any circumstance consider themselves like Iranian or Islam. Like they very much consider themselves Persian. What the expats do.
On people, is it blurring that line? Is it sharpening it? Is there going to be a rally around the flag type of effect? What's your assessment of that?
Iran, of course, is a vast country, three times the size of Iraq, more than 92 million people. The population is predominantly Persian, more than 50%, but there are also very large minorities, including the Kurds in the west and the Arabs, significant Arab population too, along the Iraqi border, the Azeris. And it was in the Kurdish area where our viewers may remember in the early days of the war, there was a whole series of reports that the Iranian Kurds were going to be armed and they were going to start trying to get a foothold by taking over a corner of Iran. They're being armed not just by the U.S. but also by Israel, and then those reports have gone away. And what we get most recently is no.
It's interesting. I actually kind of believe those at first. The Kurds have historically been used and abused by America in particular, all across the region to destabilize these countries, and they get shafted every single time. Um, they're essentially a people without a nation state. I'm glad that whatever shenanigans we were trying to pull with them didn't really bear fruit. Um, I hope that one day they can get the justice that they deserve as well. But I guarantee you it will not be at the hands of America or Israel.
Oh, that new front is not going to open. I really felt it. I've been going to Iran for many years, but on our last trip in February, I really felt it was a country which was pulling in different directions at a crossroads. That the regime, the clerical regime, still has its supporters, but Iranians had gone out in huge numbers across the country in January. Some of them calling for economic change, for their lives to change because they're suffering more year on year and sometimes even more day by day at that time from the spiraling inflation, from the collapsing currency, from years of economic mismanagement and corruption. But there were many more who were
I
all.
assume this isn't from, if they're talking about the protests, I assume this isn't from the protests. They all seem to be holding like placards and stuff with like the supreme leader's face. So I would assume this wasn't from the
Also
protests.
calling not just for quick fixes on the economy, but for fundamental change in the regime to bring down the order. And yet, as we've been hearing from Iranians in Tehran, it's difficult to hear it. Our colleagues in the BBC Persian service are getting messages that even those who had called for protest, even those who had dared to hope that the start of the war was the beginning of the end of the Islamic Republic, they now find themselves in the midst of attacks on crowded residential
Yeah.
streets. They're seeing the attacks, which
So
are.
they learned very quickly. Like they learned, I guess, very quickly that America's not going to be their salvation. I know that there are plenty of people in Iran who want to see a more secular, like liberal society or whatever. Um, but unfortunately, the nature of the Islamic State, like the way that it is, the way that it behaves, and how brutal it can be, and its crackdowns and stuff, and how uh, necessary it sees the like Islam as a fundamental part of the national character. Uh, like that's basically born out of America fucking with it so much, right? Like there were times in the past where there could have been like a, secular revolution that could have produced a less is like a less fundamentalist sort of vision of the country. But those were all shot down by America and like destabilized and like undone with like America's support or whatever. Um, like so I think that I don't know. It's almost like if you know anything about Israel as well, they constantly prop up Hamas or like more extreme versions of resistance in a way like to kind of uh, because they don't want to see like a more like uh, liberal or like secular sort of like a more reasonable group take charge or whatever, because then it would make their arguments about them all being fundamentalists and like wanting to like murder every Jew that they can find or whatever. Like it would make all of that like propaganda start to not work as well. And so um I don't know. I think the people in Iran who were hoping for some sort of like revolution, like secular revolution or whatever, very quickly realized that that's never going to come at the hand of like an at the end of an American gun. It's just not. And I hope that they keep that in mind in the future.
damaging Iran's infrastructure, even Iran's prized heritage sites. And many of them are now questioning whether or not this war is good for Iran and good for the future of Iran.
And Lise, also, just the long-term strategy of Iran. Iran probably tends to think in centuries and not news cycles. What is the strategy here for the Islamic Republic?
Iran was never going to fight a conventional military war against the world's mightiest power, the United
Mhm.
States. They have always specialized in what we call an asymmetric war, in which it is two unequal military powers, and one of them, in this case, Iran, uses unconventional military means.
Yeah, and you have to. You have to when you're going against America. It would be really stupid for any country other than maybe China, and I say maybe China, to go for like any sort of actually I think China would probably be fine. I take that back. But like to go for like a non-asymmetric style or whatever of warfare. If you try to do a conventional war against America, you're going to get your shit rocked. Like every middle power, every lower power, even some of the like superpowers will get their shit rocked if they try to do a conventional war against America. The only thing you can do is this sort of asymmetric thing where you are just trying to survive and you're just trying to inflict as much cost and pain. And this has been a strategy for so long, and it's been tried and tested by Vietnam, by Afghanistan, by these various like smaller countries like who have successfully defended against an imperial attack on their country with these exact same strategies. So Iran is just doing, what they have to do if they want to survive this. And it's all, like, in my opinion, very good strategy by them.
And that is what Iran has spent decades at trying to perfect. It's always been said in Iran they play a long game. And this is what we are seeing, that they have decided that this is a battle for survival. And the only way for them to survive is to try to ratchet up the price, not just for the region, but for the wider global economy. And that's what we're seeing with Iran basically stopping tankers and also tankers carry not just oil, but vital ingredients needed for fertilizer, so that oil prices are going up.
Hmm.
Food prices are also going to see an impact. And in their attacks
My
in
beef,
countries
my
across the
burger.
Persian Gulf, they're no longer just attacking US military bases as they talk about. They're attacking tourism infrastructure, hotels and airport and data centers. They want to make it
Ooh, the
absolutely
data centers, man. I say knock them all out. If they got any extra missiles that they could shoot over this way, any of those intercontinental drones that they were going to send to California, if they could like shoot a couple of our data centers over here, man, please, dear God, I hate those things.
clear that if anyone should try to think again about starting a war, they should know.
Oh, and also, by the way, I do think that those data centers provide intelligence and, technologic capabilities to the American military. So I actually do view those as valid military targets in case people are curious.
The risks and the costs. So even if President Trump should wake up tomorrow and declare in his terms that he's already that there's they claiming victory in this war, it's not clear whether Iran is ready to give up this long war. And that was certainly the message yesterday from the first speech, whether it was written by
I'll have to,
Moshtaba Khamenei
yeah.
or himself. that it was really a message of
I'll
defiance.
have to cut you off, Lise. Thank you so much for your analysis there. That's our chief international correspondent, Lise.
She's like, you're dehumanizing, you're giving people too much information. We got to hide this shit. Oh. Wow.
You're watching BBC News. The US is allowing the temporary sale of some Russian oil to try to boost global supplies and ease prices. The US Treasury approved a license covering oil and petroleum products already at sea, saying the short-term measure would not give a significant financial boost to Moscow. This is Brent crude has settled above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022. That's amid the ongoing disruption caused by the US-Israel war with Iran. Stocks fall as Iran vows.
So this is like classic overextension stuff, right? We're fighting a proxy war in Ukraine. Now we're going with a full war against Iran. We did a soft war action in Venezuela. We're trying to strangle Cuba. Like, if you've ever heard of the term like an empire being overextended, like this is what it means. It's usually what the pretense or like the precondition for the like total and complete collapse of an empire, which by the way is not something that happens overnight. Like I think a lot of people think like, oh, it'll just like everything will come crashing in and everything will like happen all at once, the economy collapses, and then immediately America gets put on the back burner by China. It'll probably be like a 10-20 year process or whatever as America slowly declines. But and predicting when that is, I always say, is a fool's errand. However, all of these are the preconditions that have happened with every other empire that has historically declined. So just to put that in a little bit of context for people.
To keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, the BBC's North America business correspondent Michelle Fleury has more on warnings coming from energy and economic leaders.
The global oil shock is raising alarms from some of the world's top economic and energy experts. It's also rattling financial markets. The Dow and the S&P 500 both closed down about 1.5% on Thursday, with tech stocks facing even steeper losses. Since the start of the year, the Nasdaq is now down a total of 4%. With the Strait of Hormuz almost impassable to shipping, producers in the Gulf have cut oil production by at least 10 million barrels a day. That's according to the International Energy Agency. Now, a former head of the agency warned the disruption we're seeing is unprecedented.
Iran is actually, I think,
that,
succeeding in inflicting enormous economic damage on the global economy, and it's hitting California, $8 gasoline, apparently.
California.
Potential economic
That's what they get for being commie over there. Am I right, guys?
Fallout could extend far beyond energy. The head of the conference board told us companies
Where's your green energy now, Callie?
are already preparing to pull back.
Our projections at the conference board are that GDP growth will be hit by this somewhere between 10 and 30 basis points, which doesn't sound like a lot. But
not my GDP. Okay, sorry. We know the economy's fucked. Like anybody who lives in America already knows the economy is fucked. Like I don't need to hear some economist talk about a percentage drop of the GDP and how that's going to affect my life as, an average everyday worker or whatever. Like I don't know, these suits they could learn it. They could learn a thing or two from us us working folk, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Next we're gonna watch this press conference by Kegsbreath. I don't know why I subject myself to this. I also don't know why I subject you all to this. But he is, our Department of War Crimes secretary or whatever, like the chief of Department of War Crimes. So I feel like we kind of got to watch it. If I get too bored though, or if people don't want to listen to him speak anymore, then we can always move on. But let's see what this is. I think this is from this morning. Live Hegseth holds a briefing on the Iran war. NBC News.
Way the world has never seen before. Never before has a modern, capable military, which Iran used to have, been so quickly destroyed and made combat ineffective, devastated.
They still seem pretty effective to me, from what I could tell. one of our B2 bomber or like our refueling things just went down and 4 people died. So I don't know about
We said it would not
that.
be a fair fight, and it has not been. As I stated during our first press conference on day 2, that was 10 short days ago, the combination of the world's 2 most powerful air forces is unprecedented and unbeatable. Between our Air Force and that of the Israelis, over 15,000 enemy targets have been struck. That's
Wow.
well over
Wow.
1,000 a day. No
I've
other
said this before, but empires, when they can't, when they no longer know what to do and they're flailing in a war, but they still need to justify its continuation, what they tend to do is they just keep bombing the same shit over and over again, so that they can feel like they're doing something as they, slowly drain me of all of my tax dollars.
other combination of countries in the world can do that. So today, as we speak, we fly over the top of Iran and Tehran. Fighters and bombers all day picking targets as they choose. As our intelligence
such a
gets
loser.
better and better and more refined. Looking up,
What's with all these gestures, dude? Okay.
the IRGC and Iranian regime sees only 2 things on the side of aircraft. The
He's
stars
really bad at this. I'm sorry. He's really, really bad at this. They should not put him in front of a camera. I'm like, he is every time he comes out, I can't help but picture like a 12-year-old in a suit coming out and like trying to be cool, like trying to do like a press conference, like of like how their like toy ship just sunk the rubber duck in the bathtub or something. Like this is just embarrassing. This is a complete and total embarrassment of our country.
the stripes and the Star of David. The evil regime's worst.
I'm telling you, one day we're going to replace all 50 of those stars. It's just going to be one Star of David. That's all it's going to be. We're going to be the United States of Israel.
Nightmare. Iran has no air defenses. Iran has no air force. Iran has no navy. Their missiles, their missile launchers, and drones being destroyed or shot out of the sky. Their missile volume is down 90%. Their one-way attack drones yesterday, down 95%.
Yeah, I mean, they've degraded it. Congratulations. You're never going to get it any lower. Like, I'm sorry, there's nothing else you can do at this point. We've reached, that stalemate. So, this is just the amount that they're going to be launching from here indefinitely, until the midterms or whenever they decide to stop.
And as the world is seeing, they are exercising sheer desperation in the Straits of Hormuz.
That's not what I'm seeing.
Something we're dealing with. We have been dealing with it, and don't need to worry about it.
Does anyone else buy it? Does anyone else buy it?
Defeat, destroy, disable all of their meaningful military capabilities at a pace the world has never seen before. But it's not just that Iran doesn't have a functioning air force, or that their entire navy is at the bottom of the Persian Gulf, or
What
their
else?
missile force is shrinking daily.
Oh, yeah.
Even more importantly, they also don't have the ability to build more. That's the most important component
I'm not
I'd
so
like to
sure.
emphasize today.
I'm not so sure. They're still shipping oil. They're still selling oil. There are so their ships are going through the Strait of Hormuz or whatever. I'm sure that they are receiving lots of stuff from China and Russia right now. At least that's like what they've indicated. And I like I've always said they can outproduce us. They could outproduce us under sanctions, and they're definitely going to be able to outproduce us under wartime. Like they're going to be able to produce more missiles than we can produce missile interceptors. The time is not on our side here, okay? We're going to have to end this at some point once the missile interceptors start running out. And like at that point, literally it'll all be up to Iran. Like they will have all of the bargaining power.
Soon and very soon, all of Iran's defense companies will be destroyed. For example, as of 2 days ago, Iran's entire ballistic missile production capacity, every company that builds every component of those missiles, has been functionally defeated, destroyed.
I don't buy it.
Buildings, complexes.
It's all underground, man. A lot of these manufacturing places where maybe like some of like I don't know the tangential parts like production plants or something are above ground, and maybe they can get those. But like again, they can just import shit from China too. So like but most of it is all underground, is my understanding. So I really, really don't buy that.
And factory lines all across Iran destroyed. So we're shooting down and destroying what missiles they still have in stock, but more importantly, ensuring that they have no ability to make more.
I don't buy
Their
it, man.
production lines, their military plants, their defense innovation centers defeated.
Dude, the alcohol is really taking a toll on his face. Like he's got to stop. He's got to go cold turkey.
Iran's leadership
those eyes are so sunken in, and I don't know. Sorry,
is in no better shape.
He's looking rough.
Desperate and hiding, they've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats do. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded. And likely
Not so supreme leader got him. Wow. Get wrecked, Khomeini.
disfigured. He put out a statement yesterday, a weak one, actually, but there was no voice and there was no video. It was a written statement. He called for unity. Apparently killing tens of thousands of protesters is his kind of unity.
Oh, I thought we were up to hundreds of thousands at this point. The number keeps going up.
Iran has plenty of cameras and plenty of voice.
I think the official Iranian, like the amount of protesters that were killed was at like 1,300 or something, just so people are aware.
Recorders. Why a written statement? I think you know why. His father, dead. He's scared, he's injured, he's on the run, and he lacks legitimacy. It's a mess for them. Who's in charge? Iran may not even know. With every passing hour, we know, and we know they know, that the military capabilities of their evil regime are crumbling. They can barely communicate, let alone coordinate.
This all sounds so hyperbolic and so unbelievable to me. Like I've honestly I've watched press conferences before of like previous administration officials, and like there has never once been a time where like every single word that they say I just do not buy. Like I cannot take anything they say seriously. And like I really wish that I could. Like the only thing that I take seriously at this point is like objective news reporting and shit. Like that's like the only thing, and it's hard to even find that anymore. I just, man, I'm just going a lot nowadays by like my gut and how my historical understanding of how these things work, because I really literally cannot get like even an ounce of like something that I believe from this bozo's face.
They're confused and we know it. Our response, we will keep pressing, we will keep pushing, keep advancing, no quarter, no mercy for our enemies. Yet some in this crew, in the press,
I'm sure,
just can't stop. Allow me to make a few suggestions. Press. People look up at the TV and they see banners, they see headlines. I used to be in that business, and I know that everything is written intentionally. For example, a banner or a headline.
Yeah, they're all written intentionally to make these guys look better. Like the CNNs, even MSNBC, like all of them are trying to get people on board for the war. They're literally doing everything in their power to help you guys. They're trying so hard to help you guys. But you guys are just so incompetent and so incapable of actually projecting strength that they are unable to do so. Everything you do sounds like a weak little child pretending like he's a military person. And I can't fucking take it. I can't take it, dude. They're trying their best, even though you think they're all the lion news or whatever. Like, I don't know, man.
Mid-East war intensifies, splashing on the screen the last couple of days, alongside visuals of civilian or energy targets that Iran has hit, because that's what they do. What should the banner read instead? How about Iran increasingly desperate? Because they are.
Dude, oh my God, man. I can't. Okay, I'm going to let it keep going a little bit longer because I've only made it like 5 minutes into this video, but I am getting so fucking annoyed.
They know it, and so do you, if it can be admitted. Or more fake news from CNN
Jesus
reports
Christ,
that the
dude.
Trump administration underestimated the Iran war's impact on the Strait of Hormuz. Patently ridiculous, of course. For decades, Iran has threatened shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
They
This is
have.
always what they do, hold the strait hostage. CNN doesn't think we thought of that.
It
It's a
doesn't seem like you did.
fundamentally unserious report. The sooner David Ellison takes over that network, the better.
The sooner the Israelis take over that network, the better. Like the sooner everybody, like every single news network is owned by some freak Zionist is. Yeah, I'm sure everybody will believe the news even more back then. The news won't lose all of its trust at that point.
Another example of a fake headline that I
Is
saw
this him
yesterday.
complaining about
War
stories?
widening. Here's
Oh
a
my
real
gosh.
headline for you for an actual patriotic press. How about Iran shrinking, going underground?
What the fuck, dude? I cannot stand it. They're, it's an objective fact that the war is widening, and you're pissed off that they are not spinning it to like an absurd degree that nobody will ever believe anything they say ever again. The news has to at least pretend just slightly, just the bare minimum of pretending that they are being objective. That is all that they do. Every single other thing that they do is in support of you bozos, but they're just having no luck because nobody buys the shit that you're selling. Like, it's so funny when these people get so mad at like literally the news trying to do their best to whitewash like what they are doing, and like I don't know, he just wants like a completely like sycophantic news network that like showers Trump and him particularly like personally with praise every single day or whatever, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So you see, Iran's leaders are hiding in bunkers and moving into civilian areas. The only thing that is widening is our advantage. Not to mention our Gulf partners stepping up even more, now going on the offense, and have always been with us on the defense with collective and integrated air
Are they going on the
defenses.
offense? Nothing I've heard has indicated that they're going on the offense. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'm gonna let this play. I'm sorry to leave you in a room with Pete Kegsbreath here. Cover your drinks. Don't trust him. I'll be right back.
Our will, it is unshakable. Our options, maximized, and our capabilities still building. We're going up, they're going down. As I said from the start, President Trump holds the cards. He'll determine the pace, the tempo, and the timing of this conflict. His hand firmly on the wheel, as well as on the throttle setting. America first, peace through strength in action. From day one, as our nation expects and the president demands, our warriors have fought with lethality, precision, and rapid innovation. In fact, today will be, yet again, the highest volume of strikes that America has put over the skies of Iran and Tehran. The number of sorties and number of bomber pulses, the highest yet, ramping up and only up. And quantity has a quality of its own as we continue to ramp up. Every tool of AI, of cyber, of space, EW, counter UAS, you name it, we're employing it.
Okay, I'm back.
Blinding, confusing, and deceiving our enemy. Because we know who the good guys are here. And the American people
I'm not
do
so
too.
sure. Look, I am very I'm very like, I don't really like to even think in terms of morality when it comes to war or whatever. In general, like I think it's a silly way to analyze things of like our people are moral and good and your people are immoral and bad or whatever. I just think that's like that's not what wars are about. Wars are about resources and strategic objectives and not like not a battle between good and evil or whatever. But I really think if you want to look at like if you want to look at this like from that perspective, like objectively we're the aggressor and objectively Israel is the aggressor. And like I think that really if you want to look at it that way, any country who is like offensively invading a territory that it is not its, like that a territory other than its own or whatever, like that is going to be the immoral side, like nine times out of 10. The people defending their country or their territory is the moral side. You know, like I said, 9 times out of 10. So it's just silly. But it's stupid to even analyze it from from a moral perspective. That's not what wars are about.
And that makes my job simple. I serve God, the troops,
Oh yeah,
the
I'm
country,
sure. I'm
the
sure
Constitution.
I'm sure God's up there clapping so hard for you that you killed 175 school children on the first day of a war. I'm sure. Okay, I think it sounds like he's maybe kind of wrapping up to pass over to this guy. I'm just gonna call it here. I can't take it. I'm sorry. He's so fucking annoying. I'm crashing out right now. Like seriously, this is the worst. This is the worst. I gotta move on. Okay, I think we're gonna do one more Iran war thing.
Now, you may have heard.
This one is another BBC. Man, I am all about the BBC today. This one is about Iran's Karg Island, why the U.S. wants to seize Iran's Karg Island. So my understanding is that Karg Island is a very small island in the Strait of Hormuz. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay. Yeah, it's incredibly tiny. Let me pull it up here for you guys. So here it is, Karg Island. If you look at this is the Strait. Well, the Strait of Hormuz is like kind of down here. Iran's up here. So it's essentially right off the coast of Iran. I've heard of them talking about this. I don't particularly know why. It seems impossible to get control over it. I don't know how you would supply it. I don't know how you wouldn't get you know, missile struck every single day as you tried to secure it or whatever. But let's see what this guy has to say. This is why the U.S. wants to seize Iran's Karg Island. Maybe we'll figure it out.
Of a very small rocky outcrop island about 15 nautical miles off the coast of Iran called Karg Island. What is its significance and why are the US making plans to potentially try and seize it? Hi, my name is Mikey Kay from the BBC's Security Brief, also a former strategic military planner in the British military. So why is Karg Island so strategically important to the US? Why are the US trying to seize it? Well, this is why. 90% of Iran's export crude oil comes through that island. 90%. And the reason for that is it's effectively a terminal. And the terminal allows very large tankers that can carry up to 85 million gallons of oil to be able to come up to the terminal quite easily and then come back down the Persian Gulf and out of the Straits of Hormuz out to China. China is the main user of Iranian oil. So why else is it important?
I think China, they are like 85% or something of the consumer of Iranian oil, if I remember correctly, or something.
It's also the economic lifeline to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or the IRGC. And if you take that island and you hold it, then you're effectively cutting off their lifeline, their ability to be able to conduct war. Now, there's been a lot of chatter, both in open source intelligence and online, about the Americans drawing up what's called a concept of operations, a CONOP. And a CONOP
concept of a plan of an idea
basically means different courses of action or different ways that the Americans could use their military capability to try and seize that island. So how does that work? Well, we all saw the 160th Night Stalkers in Venezuela. That wasn't just about a helicopter assault operation to pick up Maduro. There were a lot more capability and assets involved. You had suppression of enemy air defense. That's aircraft that effectively can look at the radars of anti-aircraft missiles, and basically as soon as the radar turns on, they can launch a missile off the rail to target that air defense system. You've then got intelligence, so Reapers, MQ-9 Reapers, drones effectively.
This is completely different though. Like Venezuela is nothing compared to Iran in terms of like military capabilities. So analyzing Venezuela, like the Venezuela operation, is literally pointless. Like, what are we talking about? They're completely different. And okay, well, we'll see. Maybe there's something we can glean out of the Venezuela operation. I really don't understand why we're even talking about it in this context.
With really sharp electro-optic cameras and forward-looking infrared cameras that need to be able to sanitize.
Also, we didn't seize a territory in Venezuela. We didn't like go and like take over the capital and then like control it in perpetuity or whatever, right? Like we kidnapped somebody and then we flew away. Like that's different than trying to seize a territory. So, but I don't know.
The area. And then of course, you have the helicopters themselves. The helicopters would need to be probably the MH-47 Chinook. That has the biggest range and also can carry the biggest troops. The troops involved would likely be
If there's one thing I know about America, we got some big boys, some big troops out there.
Delta Force, which is the same unit that took part in the Maduro operation. And then you have the MH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. That's more about suppressing enemy fire.
One thing, this is minor, unrelated, but hate this. I hate how much Native American imagery like we use for all of our fucking, flying war crime machines or whatever. It all just reeks of like a slap in the face to the indigenous people that came before us, and I really despise this shit. I really do.
It's more about protecting the MH-47s as they take Delta Force and the Special Force operators in to seize the island. So how would that work? Well, it's 140 nautical miles from Karg Island to the coast of Kuwait, and helicopters generally travel at about 120 knots, which is 2 miles a minute. That makes it a 70-minute transit from the coast of Kuwait to Karg Island. However, when the aircraft get there, it's not like they're dropping off and then they're returning straight away. They would have to drop off, and then the MH-60s would likely go into what's called racetracks and orbits. Now, they would be there to lay down suppression of enemy fire in case there was Iranian Guard Corps on the island that were looking to defend it.
There would be, okay, there would be, yes.
So all in all, with a 70 nautical mile transit to Karg Island and a certain amount of loiter time,
There's also Iranian missiles, like, directly to the north of them, like, that are going to be targeting these things the entire time.
40 minutes and a 70 nautical mile transit back, that's 3 hours in the air. So we're now looking at refuel options. While there is an airbase, or certainly a runway on the island, there would be fuel at that airbase. But if I'm IRGC and I know the Americans were coming, I would probably contaminate that fuel. So as a US operational commander, I wouldn't trust it. But there is another...
Why are they returning? I thought the goal is to take it over. What are they doing? I'm confused.
Another option. Both these helicopters, the MH-47 and the MH-60, they have the ability to air-to-air refuel. What do the Iranians have?
Is this the supply line that they're considering? Like trying to do a like flying back and forth supply line? Like maybe. Maybe. I guess that's the only way that you could possibly get a supply line to this place. But even like, because you're probably not going to be using ships, I would have to guess. But I don't know, man. That seems a little insane to me, and also insanely costly.
Potentially defend that island. Well, conventionally, they've got ballistic missiles and they've got anti-shipping missiles.
Yep.
But the problem with ballistic missiles is that you don't want to cause collateral damage to the oil export infrastructure on Karg Island. The Iranians are the masters at asymmetric warfare, asymmetry. So they don't want to destroy things, they want to degrade things. They want to draw this out for as long as possible. And they're using a low cost benefit ratio. And what that means is that their equipment is very simple and it's mass produced and they can produce it easily. So in terms of an asymmetric threat, what does Iran have? Well, it's got what's called go fast. They're fast attack boats, fast attack craft. You might even see two people on a jet ski, one of them driving and one of them with a rocket propelled grenade on the back. The point being is that they're hard to target and there can be lots of them. What else does it have? Well, it's got the Shahed 136 drone. That is ubiquitous. The Iranians are thought to have over 50,000 of these Shahed 136s.
50,000. Listen to that number, 50,000. they're probably producing more as we speak right now.
Once again, not hard to target as a singleton, but when you put them up in swarms, it can overwhelm air defenses. And then you've got mines. The problem with mines is that the Iranians have a lot of them. They're not particularly sophisticated.
I don't think they're going to use
them.
them.
What they do is they cause a massive problem for any US maritime patrol vessels coming into the area. And why is that? Well, because as soon as the Iranians say that they've mined Karg Island, it's then up to the US to prove that the Iranians haven't. And that takes a lot of time, manpower, and resource. The other thing as well is you've got tidal currents inside the Persian Gulf. So even if the US could clear a certain area of the ocean through mine clearance using mine hunters, the currents will then bring other mines back into that area. So there is actually no way on the map of being able to discern and protect a certain area where US vessels can go through. So does this idea of the US assaulting and seizing Karg Island bring in other players? Now, we already know that China are providing large cargo aircraft that have been coming into Iran post Operation Midnight Hammer in June 2025. What they've been bringing into Iran, we don't know. But there are ideas.
I mean, it's just components to create more hypersonic missiles and more drones. Like, I don't think we really have to speculate that hard. Like,
they could be bringing in ballistic missile capability, surface-to-air missile capability, anti-shipping capability, and also radar systems that aren't as vulnerable to those suppression of enemy air defense aircraft than we think. So they're certainly supporting Iran right now. We know that the US is trying to degrade and destroy Iran's ability to make military capability, its defense industrial base. So if it can seize Karg Island, does it have the capability to defend it without damaging the infrastructure? And if it does, what is that going to do to global oil prices? And what's the potential for other actors?
Okay, this all just is more hypothetical make-believe. If they try this, if America really tries this, it's going to be a clusterfuck. It is going to be a disaster. I would say dozens of people dying with literally not even like getting a strong, like not even seizing it. If I had to guess, is what would happen if they tried this shit. The logistical complexity of trying to hold that island that's right off the coast of Iran for like I do not see it happening. Maybe I'll eat my words. Hey, someone, if they want to clip this after it happens or something, go for it. But I do not see that happening. Okay. So that's Iran for today, I think. Let me see here. What do I want to do next? We're going to turn to American domestic policy or politics for just a sec here.
This is Democracy Now!
I wanted to watch this yesterday, but I kind of ran out of time. I didn't really know anything about this, but there was a Senate candidate who was speaking out, I guess, about the Iran war. He was an ex-Marine or something, and apparently he got his arm broken when they tried to remove him or something. So I think they're going to talk with him a little bit, maybe, or at least show some. Yeah, they're going to talk with him a little bit and get his perspective. If there's one type of protester that American cops like to brutalize the most, it's anti-war protesters. So we'll probably start. It's interesting that it's a Senate candidate and an ex-Marine, but we're going to see a lot of this shit cracking skulls, like as this war becomes less and less popular and people, flood the streets more and more. So
this is
Sorry, and that's why I think it's kind of important to, get a feel for it ahead of time.
This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. On Capitol Hill last week, a Marine Corps veteran and candidate for Senate in North Carolina suffered a broken arm after he disrupted a Senate hearing to voice his opposition to the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran.
Oh, damn.
The veteran, Brian McGinnis, was forcefully pulled through a door by Capitol Police. His arm became stuck in the door and broke.
Oh, my gosh.
Brian McGinnis interrupted the meeting while Senator Dan Sullivan.
What the fuck, dude? His arm is clearly like stuck. They just keep pulling him. Like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Sullivan was speaking. Sullivan's chair of the Armed Services Subcommittee.
Our next witness is the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, General Goering.
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel.
True.
Let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. You're in.
Hey, the American people might not, but the American government sure as fuck does. So everybody get prepared to die for the nation state of Israel.
Just a reminder to all our witnesses.
Stand up as a Marine.
The Capitol Police will escort any protesters out of the hearing room.
No one.
Yeah, I mean, clearly once that closes on him, yeah, he's fucked. That might not have been the best move by him. But I mean, I commend his effort to stay there. Like you gotta do that when you're, when you're protesting war. And sometimes, yeah, it does come with, physical consequences. But unfortunately, it's just the cost of being a good person.
We ask for calm in these hearings.
Sorry, I don't do well with like broken bones and shit. That freaked me out.
Why are you here? Why are you getting arrested?
Free Palestine from the halls of
Hell yeah, brother.
Palestine will be free.
Hell yeah, brother.
They broke his arm.
Man, dude, this guy rules.
Brian McGinnis remained detained by Capitol Police as he was treated in the hospital for a broken arm. He's now facing charges including assault on a police officer resisting arrest and unlawful demonstration.
Hey.
Brian McGinnis served in Iraq in 2000.
That's the big three.
2003, a member of Veterans for Peace, running for U.S.
Here. Sorry, let me go back and listen
on a
to
police officer resisting for a broken arm. He's now facing charges including assault on a police officer resisting arrest and unlawful demonstration.
Hey, if you don't have those three charges on your record, like at some point in your life, then you're not a good person. You need to be out there protesting. You need to, get those, or sorry, I shouldn't say that. Like, everybody does their part in some way or another, in terms of, trying to influence the country for good. But I guess the way that I should phrase it is, if you have anybody who has those three charges on their record should be looked at as American heroes and should be applauded. We should thank them for their service every single time we see them, because that is one of the most commendable, some of the most commendable charges you can ever get as a U.S. citizen.
Brian McGinnis served in Iraq in 2003, a member of Veterans for Peace, running for U.S. Senate from North Carolina on the Green Party ticket. This is to replace the outgoing Senator Tom Tillis. Brian McGinnis joins us now from North Carolina. We're also joined by his attorney, Celano Simmons. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Brian, describe what happened. First of all, why did you go to that Senate hearing?
Good morning, Amy. I'm smiling because I'm excited to be here and meet you, but I'm sad from the headlines
Amy
that have
Goodman.
been sadly.
Yeah, she's an icon, by the way. I don't know a ton about her, but I know she's been on Democracy Now! For like ever. But she's real cool.
Going across our screens for the last 2.5 years inside, I'm sad. I went to the hearing to hear what our leaders had to say in regards to war preparedness, and it was not any different from what I would expect from military leaders. They are so separate from the people, so in line with big government and its plans, and which we've been privy to with the last 25 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's just the people's voice are not being heard with any type of empathy. It's just, full speed ahead with military force. And I think the people are tired of that. And that's what the voice I was trying to present at that briefing.
Hey, I'm sorry, but are you Israeli? Because if you're not an Israeli, then the American government does not want to hear what the fuck you're saying.
Take us through that protest on March 4th. What exactly happened? How was your arm broken?
Well, all that
I think we all saw how that happened
too much because of legal reasons, but everybody has seen the
Ooh, I
video,
love
or a
that
lot of
pin.
people have seen the video, so it's pretty self-explanatory.
That's what I said.
Those briefing rooms are customizable. They have removable walls, and so I think my arm got wedged between one of those walls and the door,
Yeah,
and
they put these little arm breakers. They put little arm breakers on the doors so that any protester who gets they try to remove, like, who tries to stay or whatever gets their arm broken. I wouldn't be surprised if they start manufacturing these like on every door going forward and inside of these hearings so that they can just break every protester's arm on the way out.
with the force being applied, my arm got broke. My hand was completely stuck, and that's how that happened.
Solano Simmons, you're Brian's attorney. Can you explain what the charges are against him?
Yeah, first of all, Amy, thanks for having us. Brian is facing 4 counts. 3 counts of assault on police officers. There are 3 individual named that are law enforcement. The 4th and final count is resisting arrest. He's being charged by the United States government in Washington, D.C. Superior Court, and we're looking forward to having our day in court regarding these matters.
I want to ask you, Brian, as you were being led away, you also said free Palestine. Your wife and kids are Palestinian. You participated in a demonstration in the West Bank in 2024.
Wow.
What is your message to senators on the issue of Israel and Palestine right now?
That's so brave. This guy, he seems really cool. I like him a lot.
Their lack of research in the history of Palestine is abhorrent. There's so much knowledge of the military occupation of the Palestinians and the torturous reality they face every day that invades their humanity and their rights. And being under such oppression, it would only be natural for someone to resist or fight back. And this seemingly easy dynamic of life to understand, I am trying to present to Americans
Green Party
in a way, but sadly the villainization of Islam or Islamophobia or the difference in American and Arab cultures have created such a gap in understanding that
it's the one acceptable bigotry right now in America. I mean, different bigotries come and go or whatever as being acceptable in American politics, but currently Islamophobia is, by far the most acceptable bigotry. Although anti-Semitism's kind of making a comeback, I won't lie. Anti-Semitism, the far right, they're really making that shit popular again. So, but Islamophobia is like, everybody's on board. Republicans, Democrats, everybody. They are wheeling and dealing in the drug of Islamophobia, I guess.
It's a challenging thing to do, but I'm not going to stop. Like you said, my wife and children are American Palestinians, and so that brings us very close to home. I myself am an Iraq veteran. I have come a long way from who I was when I was in the service, and then having children and just growing up and watching news and learning. I have a complete different realm of reality and knowledge to contextualize what I've done, and I have a lot of resentment and sadness about what America is doing with our brave sons and daughters in the military.
Yeah, see, similar to Graham Plattner, I think a lot of former military, I do believe that a lot of them truly want to kind of do good and maybe in some way atone for, the sins that they may have committed, at the behest of empire or whatever. Really, back in the day, nobody even really understood America as an imperialist project. I mean, obviously some people did, but the general, there wasn't even really a general left to even speak of that could or an organized left at all that could go out there and explain why war was bad, which it seems so silly to say, obviously war is bad or whatever, but to message effectively, do these types of protests that get eyes on it. Like, it really feels like now we finally have some sort of like organization, like not like organization as in like company or something, but like we have like a much more organized force that is able to like explain these things from an anti-imperialist perspective that and I think that a lot of these people who were at one point tools of empire and pawns of empire have kind of come around to seeing it from a sort of left-wing perspective. And so I never push aside people like this. If you can show me true growth and change from potentially like the potential atrocities that you may have committed at the behest of the American empire, I will always welcome you back with open arms. And especially like he has a Palestinian wife and Palestinian kids. Like, yeah, I think we can trust this one, guys.
Republican Senator Tim Sheehy of Montana helped officers remove you, Brian McGinnis, from the hearing. Afterwards, he posted on X, quote, Capitol Police were attempting to remove an unhinged protester from the Armed Services hearing. He was fighting back. I decided to help out and de-escalate the situation, the Montana Senator Tim Sheehy said. As we wrap up, how do you respond to what Sheehy said? And explain why you've decided to run for Senate, to take Tom Tillis' seat, who's retiring.
We have much larger problems at hand. The millions, thousands of children are dying. That's the focus. So I'm no ill will towards Mr. Sheehy. Things happen. People have intentions to de-escalate or help situations, and I get that. We all step in, and we're imperfect, and we're good at sometimes, bad at sometimes. That's neither here nor there. I'm running for Senate to be a voice for the people, representing the Green Party. The Green Party is an established party that's only people run. We do not take corporate sponsors. That's very important because our government has shown to be...
I don't know if it's the best strategy to go with the Green Party. I'll be honest. At this point in time, I think taking over, like I say, destroy the Democratic Party and rebuild it is probably the best strat, but I'm not really one to like get on people for doing, Green Party shenanigans too much anyway. This guy seems like a good dude, so.
Highly influenced by big money, and the Green Party is not about that. And I was overwhelmed with looking at my email from the support and the genuine support I got from people from all over the world and here in America. And I really want to convince North Carolinians that I'm a genuine person and a good choice to represent the people in our government. And and my experience at Senate this last week was just, it showed the wall between the people and the government. And I want to break through that wall for people.
Thanks for...
There's a strange phenomenon.
Whoops.
This is democracy.
Whoops. Sorry. Okay. North Carolina. I guess, if you live in North Carolina, check him out. I know a lot of people don't really want to vote for the Green Party because they see it as, taking away from the viable candidate or whatever. But check him out. He seems like an interesting guy. If there's enough support, for a third party, then maybe it'll be viable. I don't know. But yeah, at the very least, it was interesting to see a person, a former military guy go out there and protest, particularly and like talking about free Palestine and stuff. That was pretty sick. I love it, dude. Keep it up. If you don't get elected as a Green Party candidate, consider like running as like a left populist inside of the Democratic Party. I think you could maybe make some waves there. But let's see here. Okay, we're gonna watch one here about this is.
I think it's very important to talk.
This is The Bituation Room. This is a fun show. A show that I'm sure instantly demonetizes me and anybody who watches it. So congrats Congrats, Francesca, you got me. I'm not even monetized yet anyway, so don't worry, it's not a big deal. But let's see. So this is the Bituation Room. They're going to talk about the Zionist creeps like overanalyzing Rama Duaji, the Mayor Mamdani's wife. They're they're really going crazy over in the like center to center right to far right extremist like Zionist circles or whatever. They're obsessed with Zoran's wife in a really creepy, like strange way. And I guess it's not that like unimaginable considering, how racist and fascist the ideology of Zionism is, that they would inevitably also be like patriarchal and like try and, attack women in order to attack the man that they're attached to or whatever. Like it's not that surprising, but anyway, let's see what they have to say at the Bituation Room about how obsessed Zionists are with Rama Duaji.
About the midriff
Emma Vigeland.
of the first lady, the first mayor lady, because that is what apparently the right has been freaking out about.
Midriff?
Here is the midriff of Rama Duaji. So this is what Zoran posted. And like, look, it is a hard Ramadan out there. From what I am hearing, from what we are seeing, it's a hard Ramadan because the Middle East is once again under attack. Muslims are once again being targeted. Once again, people are being, hauled off of planes for having, their alarms go off and telling them to pray. And here is Mamdani tweeting a photo of himself, a beautiful photo of himself. It's like gorgeous, where he's having like this iftar dinner with Mahmoud Khalil of all people.
Yeah, Mahmoud Khalil, by the way, American hero, incredible person. One day we will look back on him as an incredible figure in the fight for the freedom and of the Palestinian people and the oppressive forces that tried to stop it. Like, he is an American hero. More power to him. He's amazing.
Saying that for Mahmoud Khalil, this past year has been marked by profound hardship and profound courage. A year ago, Mahmoud was walking home to our city after sharing an iftar dinner with his wife, Noor, when he was detained by federal agents, flown to Louisiana, and then held in an ICE facility for months. He was forced to miss the birth of his first child, all of this for exercising his First Amendment rights and protesting the ongoing genocide in Palestine. And yet, even in the face of that cruelty, there's also been beauty, New Yorkers raising their voices in solidarity, a city refusing to look away. Mahmoud won his freedom, and a father was finally reunited with his child. Last night, we marked the one-year anniversary of his detention, and Ram and I were honored to welcome Mahmoud, Noor, and their son, Dean. Oh, cute name. To Gracie Mansion.
I just know. I know how history is going to remember Mahmoud, and he will be remembered as an American hero. I think being, like, it sucks when you're a lefty, you can objectively view right and wrong, and then always, you have the chance to always be like on the right side of history, but when you're going through it, it's like everybody vilifies you and stuff. And so Mahmoud is just one of those guys, but I think he will be remembered very fondly in history.
To break our fast together. Mahmoud is a New Yorker, and he belongs in New York City.
Makes me so proud that Zoran is our mayor and is uplifting Mahmoud's voice in this way, especially because Mahmoud was selected as somebody who was a peacemaker, and that was part of why he was at the head of, kind of those protests organizationally. And so the way that they're smearing him as like this radical, scary person, it's just like with Mohsen, you just hear these guys speak and they're so soft-spoken and thoughtful that it's a losing proposition. But the Zionists are trying, baby.
Oh, they super are. I mean, the Mohsen thing was like,
If there's one thing the Zionists have, it is literally unending energy for trying to smear anybody who is even like slightly against the state of Israel, like minor, like someone who just says like, oh, I don't know, Israel, maybe we shouldn't support them if they're, committing these atrocities. Like the amount of energy that Zionists will find to target, smear, and like Karen the fuck out on every single person who is even minorly against Israel is insane to me. I don't get it. I don't have that energy. And my cause is like righteous and good, and their cause is evil and hateful.
Was interviewed on 60 Minutes as a student protester, and he was like, there was, when there was an incident of anti-Semitism, we stamped it out. We talked to this person. We said they don't belong here. Like we and he was so agreed. And this, of course, the right is freaking out about.
I can't even see her she has a midriff. I can't even see
I forgot. I forgot that. Sorry. When I get removed from like the ravings of like Zionism addled brains, I have a hard time. Like I always go back to being a normal person, and I have to forget that we still need to be in like the territory of Zionism brain rot to remember like they're freaking the fuck out about this right here. I don't even know if you can see this on your screen, but apparently there is like maybe 2 millimeters of skin showing between her shirt and her pants. So sorry guys, we got to get back into like Zionism mode. We have to think from their perspective. You go bash your head into the wall a few times and come back, and then we'll see if we can try to understand what they're mad about here.
Because you don't have wolf eyes.
Yeah.
You don't have Naomi Wolf eyes specifically. This is Naomi Wolf again. One time feminist, Wolf? Like, thinker and leader, since like red-pilled Zionist psycho who everyone confused with Naomi Klein. She wrote a whole book about it, and she writes, random juice jar on the Gracie Mansion table. Mayor's wife with exposed navel on what is supposed to be a very important Muslim holiday and holy breaking of the fast. Islam sees modesty and dress as being linked to spiritual purity, more physical chemistry between these two than this newlywed and her husband.
Oh my God.
This is real mental illness. This is real mental illness.
Everyone on this.
They're trying to be like, oh, she's cheating on Zoran or something. Oh my God. These people, man. They see like a loving relationship like between her and her husband that isn't like possessive and creepy, and they think that like she's instantaneously gonna cheat with the first person that she sees. Like I feel like this happens with like reactionaries and right wings all the time, but anytime like two people have like a loving normal relationship where like they have trust in each other and allow like each other to have their space and do the things that they want to do with the people that they want to be with or like hang out with or whatever, like they always like assume that it implies like some sort of infidelity or cheating, as opposed to like the person who like monitors every single incoming text or like WeChat message or Instagram like or whatever of their significant other, and never lets them go out with any person that they have not particularly approved of or whatever. Like I don't know. It is kind of funny how these people think, and it's always projection. By the way, it's always projection. I would have to guess that this person, if they're even capable of being in a relationship, Naomi Wolf, I would have to guess that their relationship is not going pretty well. Also, feminist author trying to like portray this woman as like some whore or something. Like, okay, yeah, this is real good journalism.
This calendar happens to both to revile both Jews and America. None of it adds up. And yes, if you zoom in, which nobody did, there I think is an unintentional, that's not a crop top, midriff showing and two people smiling.
I agree.
Look at the sexual tension. Like, I love when right-wingers tell on themselves about how hot they are for this like Palestinian activist, and everyone's hot for Rama. Come on.
Of course, we're all hot for Rama. I mean, and that's what I think freaks
she's
them
a beautiful
out so much.
person.
Their psychosexual obsession with her, which I guess Naomi Wolf is on. Just talk to AOC about how right-wingers can mix up their like hatred and violent feelings for you if you're like an attractive woman and who's in their line of sights. But it really is nuts, this obsession with Rama Douaji. And I don't really understand the argument there. Like white Zionist feminists like Naomi Wolf like to say that Muslim is inherently worse or more repressive than other religions, specifically Judeo-Christian religions, because they are so anti-feminist and they make the women cover up their bodies.
Yeah.
So what is the critique here?
It's incomprehensible. It's intended to be incomprehensible. Like, because then there's no way for someone to like quote unquote win or whatever. They are both incredibly conservative and incredibly, primitive or brutal or patriarchal or whatever. While at the same time they are ushering in an era of woke and like whatever that's why I think the term woke Sharia is so funny because it's like oxymoronic or whatever. And these people have to live in this world where like they're both incredibly conservative and yet also incredibly woke and like pro-liberation or whatever of the Palestinian people. So
so basically
she's
what Naomi's
simultaneously saying, and she's showing her midriff. How dare she?
She's a bad Muslim.
Yes.
Shouldn't that be something you guys are in favor of in your racist worldview?
Exactly.
Which is that like Muslims, because sometimes they dress modestly. And by the way, if you just talk to a woman that wears a hijab or maybe dresses more traditionally, they will give you a thoughtful answer about how it's representative of their culture. So it's also like a racist premise, but she's rebelling against the things that you say are so toxic about.
Let people wear what they want. You're not allowed to go and tell a culture or a people or a woman of another culture that they are wrong for wearing a certain thing or whatever. We can talk about oppressive systems or whatever, patriarchal societies where these things are enforced upon women who don't want to do it. But if there are women out there wearing these things, that is like, especially in America, that is their choice, and like shut the fuck up.
About Islam, you psycho.
Oh, there would be no. Can you imagine if Rama like wore hijab? There'd be no hearing of like that would be it. That would just be like the right's entire echo chamber forever and ever and ever. And of course Laura Loomer, which is so.
Sometimes I think they should do it, man. They should just do it just to fuck with them. Like, it's like there's only so much. Like they've already utilized all of their political capital with their like trying to protect the genocide in Palestine. They now have like almost zero political capital at this point. So at this point, I think you can just fuck with them. Like, yeah, go out and wear a hijab or something. Go out and wear like a burqa or whatever. Like, I don't know, just go. Like, I guess that might be offensive to people who actually wear those, as like a symbol of their identity or religion or whatever. But like, seriously, like just do shit to fuck with them. Like, like at least have some fun with it, man.
Funny because Laura Loomer, Laura Loomer took one for the team. She went, I mean, she wanted to, but I'm sorry, she went down on Donald Trump for this. Like she was like, look, I gave you like
I did not
like
know.
A 2-star head, and in order for you to deport all of these Muslims and these,
I don't think these right-wing freaks can give good heads. Sorry, I think you gotta bump it down to 1 star.
These pro-Palestine people. She is so pissed that again, this is 2 times now that Zoran has gone to the White House and charmed the pants off of Trump. Laura Loomer, outrageous. Let's recap this week for the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Mamdani's wife was exposed for liking posts that celebrated October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks. We'll talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Then on and on and on. Refused to condemn an act of Islamic terror in New York. Broke his Ramadan fast with Mahmoud Khalil, a pro-Hamas student who was ordered to be deported by the Trump administration.
Pro-Hamas.
Lost.
Everybody who's against Israel's genocide is pro-Hamas now. I'm sorry if that's you out there. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm sorry, you are also pro-Hamas. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you are even vaguely anti-Israel, you're pro-Hamas now. I don't make the rules. I just live in this world where these rules are made for me.
And yes, he's a jihadist. President Trump never should have said Mamdani isn't a jihadist. He is. So poor old Laura Loomer is spinning out about it. But this is the real thing, like that.
This is also one of those things where Zoran's political instincts and political capital and like the amount of like power that he holds with Trump is like really important. I truly believe that Zoran is going to be able to protect like Mahmoud Khalil from like getting deported at some like future date or whatever, because just purely because of his like ability to like not, I don't want to say manipulate Trump, but like his ability to like talk Trump into like a warm puddle, like who will just like melt in your hands and do whatever you say. Like I think like I don't know. I think that his political capital that he's earned so far has really is really gonna gives me good hope for the future of New York and in particular in this case Mahmoud.
I was surprised. I guess is Jewish Insider bad? I thought they were more level-headed.
It's
Nah.
a little Jewish Insider might be a little bit more level-headed than some other Zionist publications, but people frequently confuse it with Jewish Currents, which is
Jewish Insider. I've read some of their articles and they are insane. I maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I thought that they were pretty like reactionary.
Yes.
Peter Beinart is like the editor-in-chief or very high up in that paper, and that's an actually very good progressive Jewish paper.
That is
Jewish
exactly what I'm doing.
Jewish Insider leans right, definitely.
So this is one in addition to, the new press that was like, or the free press, whatever the fuck they're called, not the new press, the free press. It's like, she liked these posts celebrating October 7th. And, it's this whole article about how, and like the posts are so benign, you guys.
And
this is, oh my God, this is, let's see if we can zoom in on it a little bit here.
I can remember this one. This is a bulldozer as you zoom in showing the wall of apartheid being broken down, and she liked that post, which obviously means that she hates Jews because everyone.
I mean, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing right there. Like it really is. This is beautiful. Like when you hear about slave uprisings in the past, like and stuff, like it's these types of things that like we remember as like historically significant and amazing and like such an amazing thing to have happened or whatever. And one day when the Palestinians are free, this will be remembered in the same way as a slave uprising. It will be remembered as a beautiful moment in history where the colonized people like rose up and fought back against their oppressors. Yeah, I mean, I know that like we have to live through history or whatever, and like before people can finally acknowledge this, but that's what's going to happen in the future. Nobody in America has any real understanding of like they're never able to like look at historical events and actually place themselves there, and then like think how they would feel in that circumstance or whatever, because the slave uprisings or the throwing off the yoke of like apartheid in South Africa and stuff. These things weren't things that everybody was on board for. They weren't things like there was just, I mean, the tools were different, but there was just as much propaganda talking about the awfulness and how, of these events and like, having their, baby murder propaganda and all that sort of stuff. All that shit happened back then too, okay? And at the time it would have been very unpopular to say that you were for the slave uprising or that you were for the oppressed black people of South Africa like creating armed resistance against their white oppressors or whatever. But now that we're like removed from it in terms of history, we can all look back on it and be like, yeah, that was amazing. That was a good thing. And it's also, by the way, only after the side of good finally wins that we're able to admit and say those things. So one day when the Palestinians are free, this moment will be looked back on as one of the seminal, like incredible moments of a colonized people, like defending themselves against their oppressors or whatever. We're not quite there yet, but someday it will be.
Everyone knows that Judaism is centered around the premise of ethnostates and apartheid, right?
Right. I mean, and this is like...
Sorry.
I don't know what's going on with me, but I gotta use the bathroom again. I'm gonna let this play, but then we're gonna switch to one more video.
Chasm, folks. Do not conflate Judaism with Zionism, please.
So many on the right, especially. We'll talk about that in a second. But I feel like this is, look, the Slow Factory is an awesome organization. They like get called here, you know, some radical group. You know, this was the day of October 7th. You know, you could argue maybe, you know, maybe don't post this day. Some folks did argue that. But what they're saying is not extreme at all. It's explaining what happened in Gaza, what's been happening in Gaza, access from the land, sea, air, how difficult it is to rebuild homes. 40% of Gaza population lives in poverty. God, this was then, right? Of course, now completely different. So this is the kind of post that people were liking. And just for some context, like in the days after October 7th, I also posted basically like, I can't believe that it took this act of violence to get folks to pay attention to the situation in Gaza, right? And I think and that was my angle on it. And other people chose to post a Palestinian flag. That's fine.
Okay, I'm back.
You know, there were like a couple tasteless things, but by and large, it was most pro-Palestinian folks who had been in the movement for a long time, who understand.
Okay. So that was, I think, a very good video. I think we got to, you know, I hopefully gave some, expressed some good points around my thoughts on that. The Zionist freaks, man, they are going crazy. They are having it rough. They're crashing out hard, and I'm fucking here for it. The more unhinged they become, the more people like do not trust a word that they say, the less political capital they have, like the better for the good, like the better for the future of humanity is what I say. So I'm gonna watch a different type of video this time. I don't really watch stuff, or I haven't done this yet, but I thought that I might. We're going into like less news focus, we're going into more fun stuff or whatever, I guess. But let me go ahead and pull it up. So I like to work out. I talk about my morning routine, or not my lunch routine of I try to work out, you know, as many days a week as I can. It usually ends up being somewhere from 3 to 5. I sometimes like to watch workout related content. I don't know if there's going to be any, you know, political commentary in this one, but I did kind of hear about this through the grapevine. This Larry Wheels guy, he was somebody that I used to watch a decent amount. He seemed to be like kind of on top of the world. He was, you know, he's a bodybuilder, obviously. But recently, I guess he's been doing some cringe shit. And that's enough for me to want to watch a video about it. And, you know, it's my stream. I do what I want. There's nobody in here to even yell at me as far as I know. So I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this video about the downfall of Larry Wheels by Back Guy. And I just worked out back today, so it's fitting.
From being one of the strongest men on the planet, competing in bodybuilding, arm wrestling, and being the face of the strength world, to succumbing to...
He's got some, by the way, he's got some titties, dude. Like, in a good way. Like, in a workout, like, pec sort of way or whatever. But, like, I've always... Anytime I see him, I'm, like, amazed at how much muscle mass that he has developed on his chest. That's crazy.
Addictions, cheating on his girlfriend, scamming his friends for money, and much, much more. How did someone who was basically at the top of the fitness and strength...
Oh no, he got content brained, everybody. He got drama slop content brained. Oh no.
...world throw it all away and end up becoming hated by almost everyone, despite being one of the most liked guys online for years. Back in 2018 to around 2022, Laryl Williams was seen as the golden child of the strength world. He held multiple powerlifting world records, was in great physical condition, and his content was very enjoyable. Training with other guys, hitting PRs seemingly every week, having a laugh suitable for a James Bond villain.
Okay, so I'm not gonna say that like I always could have seen this coming or whatever, because honestly he seemed like a nice guy. I didn't really see him having any sort of like downfall or whatever. Um, what I will say is he always struck me as a little bit aloof and a little bit like whenever he was in videos, he seemed like he didn't really feel like he fit in almost, or like he didn't really uh have the presence or like I don't know. I think potentially he might be like a little bit dumb or whatever. And I'm not one to be against dumb people if you're not like hurting anyone or whatever. So I don't like want it to be like a negative thing necessarily, but he always kind of seemed like he was like he never wanted to like lead the conversation or talk a bunch about stuff in any of the videos that I watched. So um I don't know. But I still don't know what he's done to make him a bad person now. So let's keep going before I criticize him too much.
And you know, the usual.
Throws out in place.
Then in 2019, Larry supposedly cheated on his girlfriend at the time, Chelsea King, which I'm not gonna go too much into detail on because it's an old story, but being a man on, let's say, a huge amount of supplements...
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he cheated, by the way, so if I had known that, I probably would have kind of started to assume that he wasn't that good of a person.
What messed up things happen to your body and also inside your brain. It's very normal for guys on stuff like Trenbolone to have, let's just say, different desires. And that's fine. But when you start taking it out on other people, that's when it becomes a problem.
Whoa, Larry, chill.
Though being
chill.
a likable man as he was, nobody really cared
crazy.
for this short term.
By the way, I'm assuming a lot of my viewers probably don't know anything about fitness necessarily. This is completely unachievable without gear. Nobody who's not on gear like looks like this. I think that we should like I want the general public to become better at seeing when people are on steroids versus not on steroids. So I'm going to point that out here. And if I ever do more workout related stuff in the future, I'll try and keep pointing that out.
Controversy, and Larry eventually got back to making content, competing and doing strongman, bodybuilding, all that good stuff. Then he said quite a few things which at the time he didn't really uphold, like the one time he said he was gonna quit taking anabolic steroids, but jumped on again after a few months. Yeah. Or that one time he spoke about his addiction to corn, claiming that he virtually...
Okay, this is classic. All of this, I'm starting to see a pattern. This is all a classic drama slop farm. This is what the messiest of theater kids love to do, and especially on YouTube, is these sorts of like somewhat manufactured, like clickbaity sort of titles and like videos and stuff. So I'm starting to get a sense. I'm starting to get a sense about Larry Wheels that I didn't really have before.
He got broke because he spent so much money on campsites, spending up to 5 figures a day according to himself, and even starting an OF
control
account
yourself.
At some point. But at first,
men out there, control yourselves. You can get by on free shit, okay? I promise you. It's out there.
Everyone was supportive. He was seen as the most open and honest guy in the bodybuilding, strength, and fitness industry.
Sorry, not to gender that. Men and women. Anybody who is like you're fine. You can find stuff out there for I promise you.
It certainly does take a lot to talk about this stuff online in front of millions of people. But this eventually backfired horribly, which we'll get back to later on. Still, Larry was very likable and continued his success online.
Is that his girlfriend?
Years. However, just a few months ago, it came out that Larry Wheels supposedly stole money from investors in his brand, PR, to buy his dream mansion in LA. According to papers, he owes a supposed $50,000 to a guy who wanted to purchase 3% of his company, a sum which the guy paid to Larry, but he never received what he was promised. Which, to my knowledge, is still an ongoing case, so it's important to note that nothing has really been settled. Still, being a guy who makes millions a year, you would expect Larry to pay up for what he owed. But to my knowledge,
he was incredibly famous. He had to have a shit ton of money coming in. That is indicating to me that money is being funneled probably to like just the cam girls or whatever, or potentially something worse.
This hasn't been the case. And to make matters even worse, this wasn't just some random guy, but a close friend who actually worked with his brand before, and who himself took up a loan from his dad to buy in, and he invested a lot of his own savings to be part of that deal. Now, if you want the full story, I would recommend checking out John Bravo. He's a master at digging through cases like these, and I'll link the video.
That face, dude. Look at that face. Wow. It's like he kind of has Johnny Bravo face.
In the description, but this is bad enough on its own, and it says a lot about your character when you're literally scamming your friend to buy a mansion. But it gets worse. Recently, Larry has been caught up in some serious drama, where he's been called out for being a CUCK, which means you like seeing your woman get done by other guys.
Oh no! Oh no! Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if that's what he's into, I don't kink shame. But if I would say it might not be good for his brand, though. If I had to
Let's
assume.
just say, made quite a shift from.
I think that a lot of people who watch fitness content are pretty reactionary, patriarchal, like people. So any sort of like cuck shit, they immediately see it as like weakness or whatever. So so I do have a feeling that that's not good for his brand.
Lifting weights, collabs with other fitness influencers and himself competing, to now posting a lot of short clips, a lot of which include his recent fiancée or wife, which hasn't been received well by his audience at all. At the same time, with all these CUCK allegations by guys like John Bravo again, and also
Why is he spelling it out? Is that bad for the algorithm, people? Do I need to not use the word cuck, or like, I don't know.
That's all of his collabs, which include his wife, are now seen more as rituals than anything, because Larry has, let's just say, a few special desires, which I'm not really gonna delve into right here, because this is a family-friendly channel. But after being called out, Larry went on none other than Clavicular's stream, who is a whole different type of guy.
Oh no! Is he gonna cuck max here? Are we gonna see cuck maxing? Is Clavicular gonna steal his girl on stream? What are we... Oh my god, dude. I don't know, man. This is making me a little uncomfortable.
Not exactly the best type of guy, and says that no, none of these allegations are real, it's all made up. And that right there is where things really start to fall apart for Larry. Because look, nobody cares what Larry does in his private life. The fitness industry has seen way worse. Guys who've blasted grams of trend, lied about being natural for decades, sold garbage supplements to teenagers, the grapefruit incident, and people have still kept their audience. That's not what kills your reputation. What kills your reputation is the change in you as a person, and when people stop respecting you and your antics, that's when you can start to fall off. Because Larry didn't build his brand on being some mysterious guy who never talks. He actually built it on being very open and honest about everything he does. The transparent guy who talked about his PED use, his personal
maybe
struggles,
a little too honest.
The guy who tells you the ugly truth and admits when he's messed up. And for years, that worked beautifully for Larry Wheels. People respected him for admitting his steroid use. They respected him for talking about his addiction. They respected him for being open about his personal struggles. But the problem is...
See, okay, that's all true. Like, okay. Sorry. When you are doing that, that is commendable. If you do that in your personal life. When you do it in front of everybody, I can't help but just think it's content. Like, you're monetizing it, which means that it's not necessarily just you out of the goodness of your heart, like, doing these things. Like, I get that, like, it's good for people to, like, see that message online and stuff, and that can maybe help people, but at the end of the day, the people who are usually making those types of videos and those types of content are pretty content brained, and like a little bit, like, I never really trust them as like that being their primary motivator. I think the primary motivator is usually money.
When you're building your brand on honesty is that once people have seen that you actually lied to benefit yourself and to hurt others, that's when every speck of authenticity just gets blown away. And that is kind of what we're seeing right now. Now, it seems that Larry is just trying to make viral clips to farm views instead of what people actually came to see from him in the first place.
Well, some people do that too. Some people like cringe max or whatever, where they do it like the cringiest shit they possibly can. in order to get people to like watch or click. And it's usually what people do at the bottom of their career, like at the end of their career. So I don't really know why he's doing it now, but so maybe he's doing that. Maybe he's not actually into cuck shit. I don't know.
Like he recently punched a guy in the face for talking smack about his wife, which many believe was scripted just to go viral. He also does a lot of these random collabs and supposedly deleting most comments regarding the most recent controversy, indicating that he is just
Clav. Doesn't he like blast TRT or something? Like, you gotta get bigger biceps, man. You gotta get bigger arms. And I thought he was doing steroids or something. Like, this is kind of, no offense, a little bit pathetic if he's on gear, any sort of gear, to be like frank. I shouldn't be able to have a bigger arms than you if you're like blasting gear and methamphetamine or whatever. Like, maybe the meth counteracts the steroids or something. I don't know.
And supposedly deleting most comments regarding the most recent controversy, indicating that he's just not gonna cover them at all, which again is really sad when you've built a brand on being such an open and honest person. And even worse, he recently went up to an old man and started pressing the guy over photos that he believed he took of his wife, which by the way he didn't, which is just an insane thing to do, especially considering the guy was a fan.
Never trust that smile.
It just shows that
never trust a person with a smile like that. That's a fake smile.
His head isn't
obviously
in the right place right now. Like, either he's doing it for clicks and attention, which you know is the name of the game of social media after all, or it's because he's insecure and feels the need to call out an old gentleman to look tough, while he didn't do the same thing to guys like Rampage Jackson when he did something arguably worse. Now, we don't know everything what's going on with Larry right now, but one thing here is probably true, and that is the PEDs that he's been using since he was 16 are finally catching up, and they definitely have ruined a big part of his thought pattern, his mindset towards things. Like, he probably wouldn't have those camgirl addictions if he wasn't on PEDs. He may not.
I don't know about that. I mean, maybe, but like, I know that they affect your like libido in weird ways and stuff, but the addiction, the camgirl portion seems like a very specific type of like desire that I haven't heard of, like that being a huge thing in the like in the bodybuilding industry or something. That seems like it's all him, if I had to say.
Cheated on his girlfriend or spent so much money on his addiction if he was natural. And there is quite a bit of research to back this up as well, like this study from the year 2000, which found that people on steroids are more prone to making reckless decisions and can even become more manic. There's also the research which backs up the claim of roid rage, where taking steroids can make you act up more when you eventually do become mad, like they boost irritability and they can cause people to become paranoid, anxious, and even induce psychosis. Now, I'm not saying that Larry has any of these things, but excessive PED abuse for years, especially combined with an addictive personality, isn't exactly a recipe for success. At least cognitively, because his social medias are a hell of a success story. But does Larry Wheels deserve all of this recent hate? Primarily yes, but also no. In one regard, he's avoiding taking accountability for his actions and just not addressing anything, calling the claims made against him lies, and then making a huge swap in content, which is evident in only being for clout at this point, not just because of the swap away from lifting, clip farming, and collabing with people known to do the same, but he also appears like he himself doesn't enjoy the content that he's making as much. Like, it's clear that this is not what he likes to do, which is doing both himself and his audience a massive disservice. I think that he would be much better off just addressing everything, getting his audience back, and just coming clean.
This is not a good road to go down. I agree. He shouldn't. It usually has an initial spike of viewership to do this like cringe maxing, like slop tube shit. But that usually fades away pretty quickly, and then you also alter your audience to a point that, like, if you try to go back, it's a lot harder or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, we tried something different. We watched. We learned about Larry Wheels' crazy downfall. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll read an article or two. Oh, okay. Let's read this one. Let me pull it up on a different tab first. But okay. Okay. Um, so this is an article by The Guardian. This is about the recent Michigan synagogue attack. Uh, we're learning more information about the man who did that. Um, so I'd like to read through this one, hopefully give some good commentary because I don't know. I think that I've said before that like Israel is like a anti-Semitism export machine. Like that's like their primary export is anti-Semitism. So, um, I kind of view this as like another bad, terrible thing that happened because of the amount of anti-Semitism that's being, in my opinion, intentionally created by the state of Israel. But let's see what this article says. Suspect in Michigan synagogue attack had lost family in Israeli strike on Lebanon. Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, who was born in Lebanon and became a naturalized U.S. citizen, lost two brothers, a niece, and a nephew in the airstrike. That's very sad. The armed suspect, who drove a vehicle into the hallway of a large Michigan synagogue complex that includes a school, had lost four family members in an Israeli airstrike in his native Lebanon just last week, an official said on Friday. A potential mass casualty event was averted when security guards already in place at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township on the outskirts of Detroit killed the driver before any harm could come to the synagogue staff, teacher, and 140 children at the early childhood center there on Thursday afternoon. Thank God. It sucks, that this happened or whatever, but thank God it wasn't a whole lot worse. The suspect was later named by the authorities as Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, 41, who was born in Lebanon and had become a naturalized U.S. citizen. The FBI, which is leading the investigation, described the attack on one of the nation's largest Reform synagogues as an act of violence targeting the Jewish community. Yeah, I mean, it was. It was. The thing that needs to always be remembered, though, is that this anti-Semitism and like the average, well, I guess, okay. This man was, it sounds like, a Lebanese citizen, or like was Lebanese. He came from Lebanon. Israel is currently committing genocide against the Lebanese people. Israel also says that all of its genocide, everything it does, is in the name of Jews, and I do unfortunately think that a lot of people believe that. Not everybody has as good or nuanced view of this as I do, where I can separate, and I hopefully people out there who are listening to this too can separate the Jewish people from the state of Israel. And I know it gets harder and harder as the state of Israel and these various like the ADL and stuff try to conflate everything that Israel does with the Jewish people at large. But we have to do that at every turn. Always remember, it is never the Jewish people, it is the Zionists. It is the political project of Israel that are causing these atrocities. And I'm really sorry that his family was killed. I wish that he didn't do this. But yeah. Photographs of an FBI raid on Ghazali's reported residence in Dearborn Heights, a Detroit suburb with a large Lebanese community, appeared on the website of the New York Post on Friday. Ghazali came to the U.S. in 2011 on a family-related visa as the spouse of a U.S. citizen and was granted U.S. citizenship in 2016, according to DHS. I'm sure we're not going to see any ramifications at all from this. There's never been a tragedy that the U.S. government has not used to increase the agitprop, the racist agitprop against the U.S. citizens and make them as fearful as possible of people from other countries. The New York Times reported Friday that Ghazali had a job at Hamido, a Mediterranean food restaurant in Dearborn Heights, but had been missing from work in recent weeks, a colleague said. He's the face of the restaurant, Rami Akar, a regular diner, told the newspaper. I've known him for years. An Israeli airstrike killed 4 people in the eastern Lebanon town of Mashgara on March 5th. Lebanon's state agency and the Lebanese health ministry reported. A woman was also wounded. Yeah, I mean, again, they're literally like exporting anti-Semitism and terrorism across the world. Like every civilian that you kill will lead to like a future terrorist attack. Like, and if you kill all of the civilian, like as many civilians as possible, you're going to lead to like so many more, attacks than uh like I don't know. It's really just like we've destabilized so much the Middle East so much. Like, unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that this happened. Coinciding with U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran that began last month, Israel also once again began attacking its neighbor Lebanon in an effort to eradicate the Iran-backed Hezbollah militancy. It's going to fail yet again, but it's going to kill a lot of civilians in Lebanon. The bombardment of Lebanon, which is continuing, marked a significant escalation in Israel's growing offensive there, which began after Hezbollah fired missiles and drones into Israel in early March in retaliation for the attacks on Iran, as the conflict has mounted and widened rapidly. Israel was always going to attack Lebanon again at this point, whether Hezbollah did this or not. Israel will eventually get tired of bombing Iran because it's too much work. They're very lazy people. They would much rather send bombs right across their border than have to spend all this time and effort like flying planes all the way over to Iran and bombing them. So I think that they're going to end up just taking out all of their anger at the fact that they couldn't defeat Iran in any way or in any meaningful way, and they're going to take it all out on the Lebanese people, unfortunately, which is really sad and will probably lead to a lot more of these types of incidents in the United States. A local official in Mashgara in central Lebanon told the Associated Press on Friday that Ghazali's two brothers and a niece and nephew were killed at their home in the March 5th airstrike just after sunset as they were having their fast-breaking meal during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. The official, who requested anonymity because he could not publicly discuss details of the airstrike, told the AP that Qasim and Ibrahim Ghazali were killed along with Ibrahim Ghazali's children, Ali and Fatima. It's so sad. Ibrahim Ghazali's wife was seriously wounded and remains in the hospital, the official said. Man, I can't even imagine. I hope that she's okay. This is very, very, very sad. The official said that Qasim Ghazali was a well-known soccer coach and personal trainer, while Ibrahim was a school bus driver in the village. The official added that Ayman Ghazali's father was in the U.S. and returned to Lebanon recently. Iskandar Baraka, the mayor of Mashgara, religiously and politically diverse town of about 25,000 in the Bekaa Valley, told The Guardian he did not know why the Ghazali residence was targeted, because Israel targets civilians. That's why. I don't even think they tried to come up with excuses at this point. I asked a lot, but no one said anything. He wasn't affiliated with any party, Baraka said. The mayor added that 2 multi-apartment blocks in the town were hit, as well as a community center, a school. They love bombing schools. It's their favorite thing. That was damaged indirectly, and a Christian cemetery. Ooh, that's not going to go over with the Tucker Carlsons and the people who only care about Palestinians and Lebanese people when they're Christian. In Mashgara, you can consider it like Lebanon itself. Among Christians, you have Roman Catholics, Greek Orthodox, Protestants, Maronites, and Latins, he said. Among the Muslim groups, you have Shia, Druze, Sunnis. As for political parties, everything exists there. Every party in the world is represented. Thursday's incident at the Michigan synagogue resulted in the vehicle driven by the suspect catching on fire, and black smoke could be seen billowing from the building. Our security officer was hit by the vehicle and knocked unconscious, but did not suffer life-threatening injuries, the local Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard said, and 30 law enforcement officials were treated for smoke inhalation. Okay. So nobody got hurt, really, it seems, which honestly is like a minor miracle, it sounds like. Cassie Cohen, Director of Strategic Development at Temple Israel, was in the hallway where the crash happened. She described hearing a loud bang and said she grabbed a few staff members, ran into her office, and locked the door. When I heard the crash, I knew it was bad. She said the crash happened near a classroom. In addition to the children, there were also more than 30 staff members in the synagogue. Rabbi Ariana Gordon from Temple Israel thanked the security team, law enforcement, and early childhood teachers for getting the children out safely and reunited with their parents amid the chaos and fear. About a dozen parents sprinted to get their children soon after the authorities cleared the building. Other families were reunited at a nearby Jewish community center. Allison Jacobs, whose 18-month-old daughter is enrolled, said she got a message from a teacher saying the children were okay even before she knew what happened. There are no words. I was in complete and utter shock, she said. Synagogues around the world have been on edge and further ramping up security since the US and Israel launched a war with Iran with missile strikes on 28 February. Yes, never forget to correlate these two things. This would not be happening if we were not at war with Iran. This would not be happening. These incidents would not be happening if Israel wasn't destabilizing the entire Middle East. This would not be happening if Israel didn't attempt genocide against the Palestinians, an ongoing and inherently destabilizing event that has been going on for 100 years, not 100, but close to it at this point. We can always acknowledge that this is an unfortunate incident that happened, that a person decided to make like a bad decision and do these things as an individual. But we also just need to be honest about the nature of the human condition is that if you kill all of their family, there's going to be a significant portion of people who are going to go down this route. That's just inevitable. Like you can't not expect that to happen whenever you're doing these things. And you can try to prevent the reactions from causing any damage as much as you can, but I think you're probably gonna, inevitably some are gonna get through or whatever. Which is why we shouldn't destabilize the regions like this, at all. But Donald Trump said on Thursday, it's incredible that things like this happen and called the Michigan's attack a terrible thing. However, Stephen Ingberg, the CEO of the Jewish Federation of Detroit, said, I'd love to say that I'm shocked, that I'm surprised, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not either. I'm not either. Because Israel and America are destabilizing every Middle Eastern country. We're killing the families of, thousands upon thousands of people. Yeah, I'm not shocked either. Oakland County is Michigan's second largest county with roughly 1.3 million people. The majority of Detroit area Jewish residents live there. Temple Israel has 12,000 members according to its website. At a similar time to the attack on the synagogue, a gunman killed one and injured two in a shooting in the Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. I don't know anything about that one, by the way. I don't know who did it or if there's any motivations that have been released. That incident could also have resulted in more carnage after the suspect opened fire in a classroom of students doing military training with the Reserve Officers Training Corps, a college-based program, but he was subdued and killed by some of the students. Man, you gotta grow up quick in America. The suspect was later identified by authorities as Mohammed Jallo, a former member of the Army National Guard who pleaded guilty in 2016 to attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State. The authorities said he shouted the Arabic phrase Allahu Akbar, meaning Allah is the greatest or God is great. A pretty similar phrase to what we have in America. God is great is if you go to any church, you'll hear that is great, and the FBI is investigating the shooting as an alleged act of terrorism. Yeah, I said before, we're gonna have, you thought ISIS was bad, wait for super mega mecha ISIS. It's going to be crazy, and it's gonna have way more reach. There's gonna be way more people who are going to be, aligned with it. These are the costs that we will bear eventually. It sucks, but it is inevitable. Especially with our current actions. If we stop doing our current actions, then there would be a much less likely chance of these types of things happening. Okay, my voice is already kind of given out, so I'm just going to go on to x.com, the everything app. And we'll see what we can find here. Hopefully we can have a little bit of fun is my usual hope for ending on the Nazi hellscape that is X the Everything app. Let's see. Congressman Randy Fine, we need more Islamophobia, not less. Fear of Islam is irrational. I mean, dude. And Hassan says, you should fear carbs instead of Islam, you sweaty animal. I assume that he's a little chubster, but otherwise that comment wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But fear of Islam is irrational, obviously. I think that if you want to like look at the numbers and stuff, I'm pretty sure that Christianity has been responsible for significantly more violence, you know. I mean, just look at what's happening right now. Like our Christian nationalist country, under the superior alcohol-addled brain of Pete Kegsbreath, is currently doing war crime after war crime in Iran. You know, like, and he said earlier in the press conference we're doing, like, you know, basically in the name of Christianity. Like, I think there is no contest between the religions, between all of the religions, of who is the most brutal, who is the most barbaric, who is the most savage. I don't usually like to play the religion atrocity Olympics, but when these people bring it up, you know, I think Christianity has a much bigger track record of causing violence and destabilization across the world. But let's see what else we got. Okay, so Rokana said, I am proud to stand with Graham Fermain, Zoran Mamdani, and join Hassan the Hun feed. The problem is with the neocons in our party who blundered into Iraq 20 years in Afghanistan, Libya, Gaza, and now support for the Iran war. Out with the old guard. We need a new moral compass or moral direction. Yeah, I agree. And then you got this Neanderthal, a Garwal for Congress. Oh God, wherever he is. Oh, challenging Rokana. Okay. That's going to fail, I think. But 48 hours ago, 2 men were beaten in your district after speaking Hebrew. Earlier today, there was a shooting at a Jewish school in Michigan. Is it politics, lack of empathy, or are you actually racist? And then Secular Talk says, Rokana, I supported leftists and I'm anti-war. You, whatever the fuck you are, you must be racist and you must support murder. Do you understand how pathetic you look? It's embarrassing. Log off. Also, LOL, if you're actually running for Congress. Yeah. Luckily, this sort of like insanity, like Zionist insanity, is losing a lot of average Americans. Like the pearl clutching about every single Muslim that exists is inherently anti-Semitic or anti-Semitic. Like I think that only plays with like the far right at this point. And so I think that these people, like, I'll look forward to the day that they finally crawl back into the hole they came out of. Okay, APAC. 38 minutes before this post, Rokana bragged about sitting with an anti-Semitic streamer who compares Zionists to Nazis. Well, everybody should compare Zionists to Nazis. They're the same. Like, they're one and the same. They have the exact same ideology. Zionism is, yeah, exactly. Zionism is a fascist ideology. You align with fascists in both Israel and here in the United States. Your power is diminishing. Keep chirping, though. That's what you gotta do. Put them back in their place. They have no power anymore. Or, like, they have a lot less power, I should say. They still have a lot of institutional power. But their power with the, like, now if APAC donates to even a single dollar to a person under their normal PAC, that person is never going to be in Congress ever again. Okay. This happened the other day too. My headphones, I guess, just go off if they've been on for a while and haven't maybe had any output coming to them or whatever. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, just keep making fun of them. Apex, like I said, their power is diminishing. We need nobody to take them seriously going forward. Whoa, DSA is on the ship to Cuba, I guess. They're trying to break the siege, is my understanding. They're trying to get oil to Cuba, I think. But yeah, let's see. Oh, this is the guy we watched earlier. He broke his arm, protesting against the war in Iran. So cool, cool. Oh yeah, this is that cat Abu Ghazala girl. Um, it looks like she's pretty close to potentially winning, or like she's in. Here, let's just watch it.
Insanely close. And there's a new Illinois 9 poll, and for the record, this is fucking insane. Kat Abugzalik at 20%, with Daniel Biss at 24%, 0% movement. Kat Abugzalik has picked up 3 points. Striking distance, striking distance, striking distance. That's insanely close. And she's objectively better than Daniel Biss.
She is.
It's not even a question, dude. 20 plus 3, right there, up Biss's ass. Better candidate overall. APAC spent $850,000 against us today with an AI-generated attack ad.
Kat Abugazale, totally fake.
They love their AI ads, man. I don't get it. Like, Cuomo did it as well. It's like the lack, I guess it's just like a lack of creativity and maybe cheapness that like leads to this, but they have unlimited money. Just like pay some people. If you're gonna run reactionary right-wing like freak ads, then at the very least just like pay some real artists to make your fucking slop, dude. Like
Kat's campaign is being funded with tens of thousands of dollars from right-wing donors to Republicans and Donald Trump.
As far as candidate favorabilities goes, pretty good. Kat is literally a chatter.
I am a Democratic Socialist. I'm a dues-paying DSA member, and I have
That's
been
good.
for my entire adult life.
Is there early voting in this district?
There is early voting, and we also have same-day voter registration here. So you can take your ID and a piece of mail that confirms your address on there and go to the polls. They will register you. They will give you a ballot. Election day is March 17th if you live in the area.
Yeah, I heard that there was like a little bit of controversy about her foreign policy or whatever. I agree, like, yeah, she probably doesn't. I don't know if she has a good like basis for her foreign policy. I would assume if she's in DSA, like you know, she'll get there or whatever. But like Hassan said, she's better than that Biss guy. Despite his name, he is not the best in slot. Like, put this girl in that slot, the slot of Illinois 9th or whatever. So if you're voting over in Illinois' 9th district, I would definitely give her a go.
Area. This district goes from uptown Chicago up to Evanston,
I
west to Skokie, and then all the way to Algonquin and Crystal Lake.
I think you should vote for her if you live in Illinois.
And America, man, America's districts. Do you see this shit? God, I hate our country. I hate it so much sometimes. Just, okay. Ooh, let's see. The White House. Democrats are once again putting politics over the safety of Americans. Enough is enough. And the Democrats shut down. Americans suffer hours-long lines and TSA workers receive no pay thanks to the Dems shutdown. Keep yelling. I'm sure it'll work this time. I'm sure it'll work. By the way, the reason that I'm not very concerned about them calling it the Democrat shutdown or whatever is because they tried this already. They tried it last time. And I've said this before, but like the average American is too stupid to think to even go out and find this propaganda and listen to it and then believe that it is the Democrats' fault, even with the Democrats conceding all of the messaging to the Republicans and not even going out there and counter messaging. Like the average American just knows Donald Trump in White House, long line at TSA. That's like about the wavelength, the frequency that the average American is on. So I don't really care. Yell into the wind, dude. I'm sure it'll work this time. I'm sure everyone will blame the Democrats. Let's see. What's this?
Governor Hot Wheels for Emma. F, Marry, Kill, Joanne, Chromatica, and Mayhem. I almost was praying someone would ask me to rank my favorite Lady Gaga albums.
I thought that was like Star Trek or something.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was.
Well, okay. Kill Joanne. That's my least favorite Gaga album, unfortunately. F, Chromatica. Marry, Mayhem. Mayhem is phenomenal. I mean, it's just incredible, the longevity of her career, that she just put out that album, and it's one of her best. I'm an art pop apologist. I put it in the top 4, baby. I might even put it in the top.
I don't really care that much about Lady Gaga. I'm gonna move past it. Sorry, Emma, I love you, but not my thing. I watched this video earlier today. Chris Hedges and John Marsheimer or whatever. I'll watch a clip of it real quick.
Is it too simplistic to say that Trump and Netanyahu naively believed that by...
Chris Hedges is a great reporter. I think he's incredible. He has a legacy, like a history, and he was also one of the few reporters that was fired because he was an objective journalist during Iraq. So for people who don't know, definitely check out his like YouTube channel and stuff. He gets some good
taking
info.
out the supreme leader, there would be regime change and the war would be over?
I think that's clearly the case.
So dramatic, though.
I think that was the argument that Netanyahu sold to Trump, and Trump liked the argument.
Demon.
Venezuela.
Sorry, every time I see Netanyahu, I can't help but think that he is Satan incarnate. Like, he looks like Satan, he talks like Satan with a garbled up voice. Like, I don't know. Like, it's like an involuntary reaction.
We thought that we had the ability to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. And when Bibi
so
told
dramatic.
him that the regime...
Okay, sorry, real quick. This video, I know that I paused too much probably, but the actual video that they like took these clips from is not this dramatic. They're just talking. They're literally just like having a conversation about what they like, how they think Trump got, bamboozled into this war or whatever. But this is very funny with how dramatic it's being.
In Iran is weak, and all we have to do is decapitate it and really hit hard on that first day or two, that the regime would crumble and we would end up with a pro-American, pro-Israeli regime in its place. I think Netanyahu was very successful at telling Trump that story. And Trump is not exactly surrounded by wise advisors, so he fell into the trap. Now, Netanyahu's a more complicated case. One could argue that Netanyahu understood that a decapitation strike wouldn't work, that this would not be a quick and decisive victory, and that instead what he was trying to do was trap Trump into a long war in which...
I never understand if Netanyahu is actually as Zionism brained or whatever. I think he is. I think he does kind of truly believe that Israel will be ascendant and and take over the region or something. So I think he probably believes his own bullshit. But yeah, I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot.
Case, Iran would be destroyed. In other words, Netanyahu understood that the regime would not fall quickly, but once we committed to fighting the war, we would have no choice but to see it through. And that's the situation that we're in now. So that's a possible argument. It's hard to know for sure whether it's true.
Okay. One thing I did learn from watching that is I need to put a little more time and effort to my YouTube shorts. That was so intense. I bet that goes hard in the algorithm. I'm just I ain't got time for that though, man. I didn't even have time to do a short today. And I think that my shorts are pretty good for how quickly I make them or whatever. It's just really clipping shit from my YouTube channel or my videos, but I don't know. I just don't got the time to do that. Maybe someday if I make it big, I'll hire someone to do it, but oh, Dave Porkboy. Barstool Sports Dave Portnoy hopes Greta Thunberg's Gaza aid flotilla is hit by a missile on podcast. Oh, I remember that. Also, Greta Thunberg, by the way, is a world hero. I say that Khalil is an American hero. She is a hero of the world. This might be blasphemous to any religious people listening to this, but I truly believe that she is very similar to a Jesus-like figure, to be honest. in terms of like her moral clarity, her like her just like willing to put herself on the line and in the lines of fire from like all of these like supremely powerful forces or whatever and like political actors and stuff. Like I'm talking Jesus from like a purely like historical perspective, because as you know, as everybody knows, I am the pope of the seculars. I know everything about secularism. But I also read like the history of like Jesus Christ as a figure, and I see him very much as like um a provocative sort of like populist in my opinion, like left populist sort of like provocateur sort of person or whatever. And I actually see Greta as like almost carrying on that same sort of vein, especially with like the causes that she is attaching herself to and stuff. But anyway, let's see what as I just compare, and I'm sure like piss off all of the religion heads out there who hate Greta Thunberg, but also don't know anything about the actual life of Jesus Christ. Let's read what Dave Porkboy has to say. Dave Portnoy, you know what? When there are terrorist attacks in the U.S. by extremists, I prefer that the same politicians and podcasters who egg them on with nonstop inflammatory rhetoric and by endorsing Hamas rallies and who refuse to condemn phrases like globalize the Antifada uh, and who blame everything on Jews, then don't then try to act surprised or sympathetic when these. Well, here's the thing. I'm not surprised that these attacks are happening, but the cause is not that. The cause is not people being in support of the Palestinians or whatever, or people using the apparent like code like cheat code word globalize the Intifada, which automatically increases anti-Semitism by 100% every time you say it. The reason that these attacks are starting to happen more often is because we are destabilizing the region, and like what happened in Michigan at the synagogue there or whatever, we're killing all of the people's family who have family over there, and they're making they're like lashing out in the one way they think they can, and also they can get guns and whatever weaponry they want here. Like, so yeah, I'm not surprised that these things are happening. It's just the reasoning, like it should be obvious to anyone that Israel and America's destabilizing efforts in the Middle East are the primary culprit. It's insulting and you're not fooling anybody. I'd rather Mamdani be more like his wife who probably already smashed the like button a billion times and threw a party at Gracie Mansion. I don't I don't know what that means. Who already smashed the like button a billion. Okay. At least she owns it. Give me the straightforward hatred rather than the hypocrisy. Okay, that's ridiculous, pork boy. Go back to your fucking sports show. Shut up and podcast. Shut up and podcast, you fucking loser. Okay, sorry. And Matt Lex said, "Go fuck yourself." That's even. That's actually, I think mine was funnier. Sorry, Matt. Whatever. I was gonna maybe respond, but it's fine. I'm not very technically savvy when it comes to X.com because I don't really do it that much. So I'm like, I don't want to like accidentally respond to Matt Leck and say shut up and podcast because I like respect him or whatever. But okay, right-wing activist, I did hear about this. Right-wing activist Jake Lang caught an alleged catch-a-predator style sting, texting someone posing as a 14 or a 15-year-old girl. The Bulwark. That was actually one of the articles that I was thinking about reading. I'm not going to here because my voice is kind of giving out. But it was one of the ones that I had, and you can see it here in my saved stories. It's right here. I'm not lying to you guys. I would never tell a lie to the technically clay heads out there. I would never. But yeah, oh, what a surprise. Another right-wing freak turns out to be a pedophile. Wow. So surprised, so surprised. Seems to happen all the time. Um, let's see here. Let's watch Mehdi Hassan explain this. he says Zateo. This is Zateo Mehdi Hassan's new, or I guess not new anymore, but news network that he has on YouTube. This is a moment now to go after Trump for his lack of a plan, lack of a strategy. The Democrats just keep missing the goal. I mean, yes, but also like go after the morality and the like despicable nature of what Trump is doing as well. But okay. Mehdi Hassan explains the continuous failure of Democratic leadership on Piers Morgan uncensored. Piers is a funny guy. Not in like a comedy sort of way, but Piers is interesting because he is one of the few people who will have on like actual left-wing people. Most places they banish the left. They do not allow a single word of left-wing like I don't know words like I don't know how I'm supposed to phrase that, but like they don't let a single left-wing word out of the mouth of any of their guests because I think they think it's too powerful or something. I don't know. But Piers is one of the few that does, and I think that he's a little drama queen. I think that he loves drama. He loves being on panels where people are fighting. He loves getting clips. I think that that's kind of his main thing, so that's why he kind of does it. But let's see what Mehdi Hassan has to say here, and then I'll scroll a little bit more and potentially call it.
They are weak. They are useless. I mean, the leadership. I don't like to generalize because there are a lot of Democrats like your Ro Khannas who are doing very good work in trying to stop the war, in highlighting the double standards. There is Senator Chris Murphy's been very strong. Senator Chris Van Hollen. There's individual Democrats who have been very strong. The leadership, Schumer in the Senate, Jeffries in the House, absolutely useless. When they're asked, are you going to fund this war? They can't just say, no, we're not going to fund an illegal, immoral war. They don't understand the politics, as you say, that the party, the base, is in a very anti-war, very angry position. The American public as a whole has a very dim view of the Democratic Party. Did you see the
this is the problem, and it's a problem that like a lot of people can't even quite understand. I like to think back to like so the Democrats never actually message for the obvious popular position or the obvious future popular position in order to build a wave that they can then ride to success or whatever. And obviously they do that because they don't actually believe, like they don't actually want the Iran war to stop or whatever. But I want to go back real quick to the like post October 7th Biden bear hug strategy or whatever, and then that leading into the Kamala Harris president's or like candidacy or whatever. They had to twist themselves. This is the untold consequence, or like the unseen consequences of these types of messaging failures. Is they had to twist themselves into such knots because they were morally bankrupt, because they had the immoral position and they couldn't go out there and just state the obvious moral like thing. Because Democrats, if it doesn't go against their corporate interests or their or the state interests and stuff, they will go out there and they will message well, and they will create a base that like of support and a wave that they can then ride to success and power. The problem is that they choose not to do that because of their donors and stuff. And so the same sort of thing happened back then, where if they would have just ridden the moral position, like led people to the moral position when it came to the genocide in Gaza, and then continuously built on top of that and talked about how immoral the Republicans were for wanting this to keep going on. Like, if they could have just done that, it's not only that they would have won, I think they would have demolished and crushed the opposition if they would have crushed the Republicans if they had done that, if Kamala had done that, if she had taken that strat. So this is just more of the same from them. I don't really have any hope that they're going to change anytime soon. It's only once we get money out of politics and get more left-leaning people to start kicking these goons out of Congress, that we'll see some change.
All recently appears that says the only two things that are less popular than AI is very unpopular in the US. The only things less popular than AI are the Democratic Party and the Islamic Republic of Iran. according to public opinion.
Yeah.
That's a savage indictment of the Democratic Party and its leadership. And that's because they are out of tune with American voters, they are definitely out of tune with their base. This is a moment now to go after Trump for his lack of a plan, lack of a strategy, betrayal of his base, his immoral killing of schoolgirls in a school and then lying about it and trying to blame Iran, supporting a war in which
they can't do it because they're in support of those things, because their donors are in support of those things.
Oil depots and civilian infrastructure without going to Congress. Piers, Tony Blair went to Parliament, went to the UN Security Council. George Bush sent Colin Powell to the UN Security Council. He went to Congress to get a vote of authorization. This guy, Trump, hasn't even bothered to do even what Bush and Cheney did when they rushed to war. And yet the Democrats' open goal just keep missing the goal, the leadership, again, of the Democratic Party. As I say, individual Democrats.
Yeah, and they're also just always going with the weakest possible option to fight back. They, like, after the war starts, they then create a war powers resolution that then fails or whatever, to stop the war or whatever. Like, where's like, just start bringing lawsuits. Like, be like, this war is illegal. It is illegal. This war is illegal. It was not authorized by Congress. It's illegal. So it has to stop or whatever. Like, bring a lawsuit, like, or get behind a lawsuit. Go out there and publicly support some sort of lawsuit for that. Or same with the tariff shit. Like, go out there and be like, we're gonna get all of our all of the individuals of our district's money back or whatever by suing the Trump administration for the tariffs or whatever. Like, they never want to play hardball, obviously, because they're controlled opposition. But yeah, I don't know.
Democrats, especially those running for president, are doing a good job. Ruben Gallego of Arizona has been very strong. I like his tagline that Trump was elected to try and expose pedophiles and end wars. Instead, he's protecting pedophiles and starting wars. I do think that should be the line of the entire Democratic Party.
He has to protect them because he is one, you know? This is kind of gross. Sorry, Mamdani, I'm not on board for this, but I had a productive meeting with the FIFA president, Gianna Infantino, on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to bringing the magic of the 2026 World Cup to every New Yorker. Fuck FIFA, and to all hell. They should have kicked Israel out ages ago, like years ago. They are immoral. They gave a fucking peace prize to our goddamn president who is at war with, you know, like Iran and has been involved in, you know, dozens of wars since his presidency started. Like, fuck FIFA with a 10-foot pole. This photo is embarrassing, Mamdani. You should not have taken this photo. See, for anybody out there who doesn't think I am objective and can go after the people I like I can, I promise you, and I will, I'm sure, as Mamdani makes terrible decisions every once in a while. He's better than most, but he is a politician. He's going to disappoint me eventually. And he already has in some respects or whatever, but ooh, anonymous. Transitioning to green energy would have cost less than an oil crisis, much less than war, and would have created the so desperately needed jobs. Ooh, Anonymous is going full woke, full green. I mean, Anonymous is so interesting to me. They're like a hacker cell or whatever. I think they're the Guy Fawkes mask people or whatever. They always had a vaguely populist sort of like ideology, I think. Only recently I feel like they're becoming more left, like overtly left-leaning. I am curious about that. But Anonymous, I have a task for you, okay? If you're listening out there, if you're listening to me, I know you are. You listen, you're everywhere. We are all anonymous, as you say. Get the photos, dude. Go find a way to get into that database wherever it is. If it's, you know, a database here, if it's a database in Iran, if it's a database in Israel, wherever that database is, go get the photos. You know what photos I'm talking about, okay? Not just of Trump, not just of Bill Clinton. Get the photos of everybody, every single person you can find, okay? And release them. You can censor it. You can censor the parts that need to be censored, but release the photos. And then, you know, I've never had a problem with Anonymous because I think it's kind of badass to have a hacker cell. Like, from like a purely like, you know, like if this was a movie, it's cool sort of perspective or whatever. I don't necessarily think they really honestly do a ton. They've had a couple major hacks that they've done that I think have been like somewhat good, if I remember correctly, but I'd have to look back into it. But you know what I'm talking about, Anonymous. Go do it. Yeah, I don't know what they got on Lindsey Graham. At first I was like maybe it's just that he's gay or whatever, but I mean I think everybody knows. Maybe the secret that they have on him is that he's actually like a trans man, that he transitioned at some point and he's been hiding it for his entire life or something. Maybe. I don't know. What do I know? Ugh, Randy Fine. He's got a, you know. You know my thoughts about guillotines, right? If you don't, go view that short. It didn't play well in the algorithm, but okay. I think I'm done rotting my brain for today. I swear I literally only look at X for content. I do not look at this like in my free time. So, what you guys see is what I see. I'm not an X head. I don't, you know, the Nazi homeland, the Nazi bulwark against the woke liberals. I don't go on it that often. So, but I do think we can have a little bit of fun on here. I think that we found some good videos or good clips and stuff. It makes it pretty easy to find like shorter clips. Now that I think about it, I think I actually forgot to upload my scrolling X content from yesterday, so I got to do that still. Um, but anyway, good stream, 2.5 hours, man. Time flies, right? I hope everybody who's out there watching, everybody who watches the VOD in the future or the videos and clips or whatever, um, has a good time. I think it was a pretty good stream if I had to guess. Um, but I I don't know. It's been good. This is technically Clay. Adios. Bye bye.